Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wonderful people, ladies and gentlemen, people from all over. Welcome to Afric 24. Welcome to this one exciting show that you lovely people have come to love, enjoy, and even tune in to whenever it's this hour of the night. Ni saa nne ndipo tu tumeanza show. Welcome to this show. Welcome to another heated conversation about to happen here at Afric 24. We have another one, a greater one, better than the others. Well, sawa kizungu nakwambia sometimes. But thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining in. As usual, I'm your host, Jakes, the moderator, and this is Afric 24. This is your show. Show mmekuja kupenda wadau. Show mmekuja kuingoja inapotimu tu hii masaa. Yeah, hii ndio show yako. Show ambayo you have come to truly wait on. Asante sana kwa kujiunga nami. Asante sana. Ni juzi unanitazama ukiwa wapi? Welcome to this great conversation. Welcome to this awesome conversation about to happen. I see you joining me. I see you liking our videos. Karibu sana, karibu sana. Welcome to Afric 24. Ni juzi unanitazama ukiwa wapi hapo kwa comment section. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Like this video, subscribe to Afric 24 and let us make this conversation go on in a nice way. Asante sana kwa kujiunga nami. Asante sana kwa kuwa part of this great conversation. Where are you from? Where are you tuning in from? I am about to give you one epic show. Karibu sana, karibu wadau, karibu to Afric 24. We have a great show about to happen just now. I see many already tuned in. I see many tuned in. I'm about to introduce the topic and why the topic and why now. Karibu sana. Swala nyeti ambayo tuko karibu kulizungumzia. Mambo yamezidi kuchacha, kunazidi kuwaka moto. I'll be telling you of increment in taxes, not just one type, but so many types. Every place that a Kenyan would visit in the coming days, the taxes of those offices have skyrocketed. Zimehit high levels. Nakwambia, something you are paying 500, you'll be paying around 20,000. Something you are paying around 1,000 bob, you'll be paying around 10,000 very soon. If not, kama bado haijaanza iko karibu kuanza. I'll be showing you of increment in so many charges that have happened. And why are we saying Kenya is sick? We are basing this on Millie Odhiambo exchange with Kemani Shungwa. I loved how they exchanged battles from one person to another. The battle was interesting, but her words stuck with me. She asked funny questions. That one, are you guys mad? Are you guys crazy? Are you guys mental? I think someone somewhere ni mgonjwa, because how do you explain some of these almost extortive form of taxation and levy, right? How do you even explain it? Because it's sickening that someone can just sit without public participation guaranteed by our constitution and increase charges to unreasonable levels. You can imagine that in our country right now, people are struggling, right? We are not yet stable. We are struggling as a country. And then someone decides, you know what? I think Kenyans are not really truly struggling. Let me think a bit. Let me think a bit with the charges that I proposed to them, or rather they normally pay, and I give this form of charge. Well, and that's why many Kenyans are saying it's difficult to live around. Let's first listen to Tifa before I even go on to the topic of today. Let's listen to what Tifa had as a final.
Kenyans consider the current economic conditions to be worse than what they were a year ago. According to a survey released by Tifa Research on President William Ruto's government performance, the rising cost of living has forced 87% of Kenyans to reduce expenditure on various items, including food, transport, clothing, education, cooking fuel, and electricity. Now, the survey also rated the performance of cabinet secretaries, with Interior Cabinet Secretary Professor Kithure Kindiki emerging tops with 65%, while Energy Cabinet Secretary Davis Chirchir was ranked as the worst performing cabinet secretary. The story was produced by Gatete Njoroge.
The survey, which was conducted between November 25th and December 7th, involving over 3,000 respondents, revealed that the main concern among majority of Kenyans is the rising cost of living. 84% of Kenyans feel that the current economic condition is worse compared to what it was a year ago, with 7% only saying the economy is doing better. The harsh economic times have forced 87% of Kenyans to reduce personal expenditure. The survey revealed that 84% of Kenyans have reduced their expenditure on food. 15% of Kenyans have reduced money used for transport. Other items affected include clothes, cooking gas, and electricity.
When you get 87% who say they've had to reduce their expenditure, you know that almost everybody has been suffering. They used to have 2 meals a day, they're having now only 1. How that's going to impact on their health, even on mortality, goodness knows. But we can see the situation is extremely difficult.
The cost of living has also impacted on the performance of government in implementing its agenda. 39% of Kenyans feel that the cost of living remains one of the main challenges facing the Kenya Kwanza administration, followed by corruption at 15% and debt repayment at 8%.
Thank you.
The survey, which also rated the performance of cabinet secretaries, placed Interior Cabinet Secretary Professor Kithure Kindiki at the top with 65%, while his energy counterpart, Davis Chirchir, who has been on the spot following cases of power outages in the country, has been ranked as the worst performing CS with a score of 19%.
As for Professor Kindiki, even if rather negative things have been taking place within the cabinet responsibility of insecurity, unlike Chirchir, he's not blamed for it. He's being seen as positively, actively addressing these issues.
On the security front, the survey showed that 18% of Kenyans have been victims of crime during the last 3 months alone. 22% of the crime cases were reported in Nairobi and western regions. On the floods that have ravaged the country, 18% of Kenyans said their areas had been affected by floods with little help coming from the government.
We asked, have you received any assistance? Or the people, not necessarily the person we're interviewing, but have people received any assistance to deal with the damage these floods have caused? Less than 1 in 5, 19% only say yes.
On party popularity, although UDA party remains the most popular party, the numbers have dipped from 34 to 31% in the last 6 months, while ODM party has gained from 18% in June to 22% in December.
Okay, now that is just a report by Tifa on so many reasons for so many things affecting our country, but that really hasn't informed my discussion tonight, but it has helped in giving it some flesh, right? That 84% of Kenyans feel the economy is not doing well. 84% are not convinced that this government has done enough to improve the economy. 84% feel that we are not headed in the right direction. 84% is a very strong A in terms of grading. But that being mentioned, Kenyans who are suffering at the moment in the sense that they don't have an increase in their salaries. The salaries is still the same for many. Many haven't enjoyed what we call an increment in their salaries. But despite all that, kuko na some charges ambazo zinakam, kuko na some increment in taxes. Some even begin from January. you know. And for mwananchi, the level of challenges is about to increase. Maybe we think what we have seen is enough, but things are about to get even tougher. And what informed our thumbnail today? Listen to this confrontation.
Capabilities. Don't inform me over mundane things like that, because those are things that I just raise in passing. But I talk about issues of substance. Mr. Speaker, I have a problem with the proposed amendment to the Traffic Act, Section 1179 of the Traffic Act, which provides that if any unauthorized person removes a notice affixed on a vehicle or tears or defaces the notice, they are guilty of an offense and liable upon conviction to a fine not exceeding 200 shillings. I would want, with your permission, to say it in Kiswahili, shilingi 200. And with your permission, I can say it in Kijaluo, seling miareo.
Order, Millie.
I sought your permission, Mr. Speaker.
I never gave you any permission to go mad.
I do apologize then.
Proceed, Millie.
And Mr. Speaker, the reason why I'm saying that is that this amendment seeks to move that fine from 200 Kenya shillings to 200,000 Kenya shillings, and a fine of 500 Kenya shillings to 500,000 Kenya shillings. And I am actually sad that I was not here when Honorable Ichungwa was moving the tax policy. And your tax policy must be anchored on what you promised, which was, what are these people you are calling, what were they called? Hustlers. Which else are you going to fine for removing a notice off a car, 500,000 Kenya shillings? Are you living in utopia?
Leader,
are you living in mass? Are you crazy? Are you mad? Are you mental? Do you need a mental checkup?
She asks so many deep questions. Are you crazy? Are you mental? Are you mad? Do you need a mental checkup? And that is what informed this show. Because why am I asking if these guys are seriously crazy or they need a mental checkup? I want you to pay attention, very close attention, to the figures about to be projected in this show just now. Look at these figures, ladies and gentlemen.
Paying up to 40 times for some services from the National Transport and Safety Authority as the state agency seeks to meet its financial shortfalls through increased rates paid by the public. Let's sample the Financial Sustainability Study, draft report number 2, which was presented for stakeholder review and validation, detailing the proposed new rates against what is currently being paid. Now, one of the things is the inspection center license, the annual, which did not have a cost. It's a new revenue stream for them, which the proposed rate is 200,000 shillings. Now, a speed limiter, or what we probably know as the speed governor, is currently going for 50,000 shillings, but now the proposed rate is 150,000, which is a 200% increase, 3 times the price. Now, to get a transport network company license, this is for those who have like taxi hailing companies such as Bolt, Uber, and the likes. To get a license, it was 100,000 shillings, but now it is 100,000 shillings. The proposed rate is 200,000 shillings, 100% increase. To get a driving school license renewal for Class A has proposed to be risen from 20,000 to 50,000 shillings. That is 150% increment. Now we have, if you want to get a duplicate registration book, a logbook, the current rate is 2,500 shillings. But the proposal by NTSA is to charge 10,000 shillings. That's 300% increase. Transfer of ownership of vehicle for one that is 1,000 cc and below is currently 1,660 shillings, and the proposal is to raise it to 10,000 shillings. That's an increment of 502%. Now, transfer of ownership of a vehicle of 1,001 cc and above, there are different categories there. All those categories have been doubled across engine capacity categories, and that is a 100% increase on all those categories. And to convert a foreign license, it is currently 1,000 shillings. The proposal is to raise it to 10,000 shillings, which is a 900% increase. Now, that's not all. We still have more numbers for you. And to get a new motor vehicle dealer's license, if you're a dealer and you want to get you want to become a dealer, the current rate is 9,600. The proposal is to raise it to 100,000 bob. 942% increment. Then for second-hand motor vehicle dealer's license, the current rate is 4,200 bob, and NTSA wants to charge you 100,000 shillings. That increment is 2,281%. Some of these numbers may look like it's a typo, but no, we got it right. The renewal of second-hand motor vehicle dealer's license, currently 4,200 bob, and the proposal is to raise it to 50,000 bob. That's an increment of 1,090%. That is the proposal. And change of particulars, that is color specifically. So if you need to change your car color, currently you're paying NTSA 500 shillings, but they want you to pay 20,000 shillings. And this is an increment of, you can see that, 3,900% increment from what is currently being charged. Now, we still have a few more numbers. And motor vehicle registration, it has been doubled across engine capacities. If you want to register a vehicle, number plate, front and rear. Now, this means if you want to get both the front and the rear number plate, currently it will cost you 3,000 shillings. The proposal is to raise it to 5,000 shillings, 67% increase. If you want a single plate, for instance, if you have only one that is probably damaged or lost, you just need to replace one. That means you are currently paying 1,500 for that, but the proposal is to raise it to 2,500 shillings. Or for guys like motorcycles, which have only one number plate, really, 2,500 bob is the proposal, 67% increase. Now, a builder's license, this is the license for those who want to put together vehicles, those who manufacture or assemble vehicles. 9,600 shillings is what is currently being paid, and the proposal is to raise it by 942% to 100,000 shillings. That's more than 10 times what is currently being paid. That is the builder's license. Now, we sought to understand what the proposals would mean to car dealers and importers who are among the most affected if these proposals saw light of day. Here's the insight.
It's going to be a difficult move, and for people who are trying to get into the market, I don't encourage, but it's something you should get in a bit more prepared. It's not going to be any more flexible than it was maybe for people who started earlier, but even for people who are just like pretty new like us, I don't consider myself so old in the business, and it's a difficult decision. Yeah. First of all, I have to say Kenya is a very resilient country. So, we always know how to cope with most of the things. But worst case scenario, I know a lot of car dealerships will close down. I've seen a lot of foreign dealers move back to their countries. And it might not be something that we know about, but I know for sure it's a worst case scenario, just maybe shut down and go back to brokering the dealership and all that. Yeah. If we can come together as dealerships and talk about it and maybe propose something, I hope we can get a hearing and NTSA can consider us, because it's something that I think last year October we had like a car dealership meeting, and hopefully if
1,000 Kenya shillings and a fine of 500 Kenya shillings to 500,000 Kenya shillings. And I am actually sad that I was not here when Honorable Ichungwa was moving the tax policy. And your tax policy must be anchored on what you promised, which was, what are these people you are calling, what were they called? Hustlers. Which else are you going to find for removing a notice off a car, 500,000 Kenya shillings? Are you living in utopia?
Leader,
are you living in mass? Are you crazy? Are you mad? Are you mental? Do you need a mental checkup?
Are you mad? Are you crazy? Are you mental? Do you need a mental checkup? That is why we are asking, is Kenyans in Kenya, are guys sick? Kuna watu wagonjwa mahali, because the increment in some charges, it's beyond comprehension. Those are just figures. I'll be playing more figures. Hiyo tu ni side moja ya figures ambazo zime increase to very huge fees, to very huge charges. I haven't played what increment happened after the financial debate and finance bill went to become a finance law. I haven't played those clips yet. But ladies and gentlemen, who is coming up with these charges? Who is coming up with this increment? That person needs to answer that question from Millie. Is that person okay? Is that person mental? Is that person crazy? Because you have increased some charges to almost an extortive level. We haven't even talked about the passport increment, about the ID increment. I'll be playing that just now. But with me to discuss this and more, and many to join us as well, it's Leo Nyabaya and of course Cornel Ochuka. Guys, thank you so much for being part of this show, and as well, thank you as well our subscribers and our viewers for watching and tuning into this show. Thank you very, very much. We appreciate and really value you for being part of this show. Now, let me begin with you before even I come to Ochuka, and I wish to ask you this: is there someone sick in our country, especially those who are coming up with some of these levies? Because I haven't played, I've just touched one, I haven't gone to the others. What do you think? Kuna mtu mgonjwa in our country? I think someone really is almost playing a game with Kenyan lives. It's already difficult, but they want to make it even almost unbearable. What do you think, sir? From where is it?
All right. Good evening, Jax. Good evening, Cornell. I can see you there. I can see
Good evening.
Melkizedek Jambo, namwona pale Gudia akishikilia hapo kwenye comment section. It's a good evening, and the people are still nursing. We are still nursing the effects of the Jamhuri Day. You know, this celebration ilikuja katikati ya wiki baada ya a long weekend. So the question that you're asking is somebody sick? Or I can say that Kenyans are the ones who are sick. It's Kenyans. We Kenyans are the ones who are sick. Nobody is sick. It's Kenyans. We are really sick, and that is a matter of fact. So we need to identify ourselves, and after identifying ourselves, then we need to realize that we are the ones who are sick, and we seek some medication. We are sick in the sense that all these things that are happening, we are aware of them, but we are doing nothing. And we are also the ones who contributed for these things that are happening currently, because we participated in the elections. After participating in the elections, there were some calls for demonstrations so that people can try and rectify the mistakes through using the people's power, but this didn't work. Like, Kenyans gave up, and we said that sisi sasa tumechoka, wacha wale watu tumepatia nafasi waweze kutuongoza. So it's so sad that it is the citizens or the voters who are going to bear this burden, while the executive are really enjoying. I looked at the report from I think from the control of the budget, talking about the spending of the executive. The executive is really overspending, but what we should be asking ourselves, it is at whose expense? So it is the Kenyans who are being milked that hard so that we can be able to pay for the luxurious life of the executive. So not until we'll realize that we are the ones who are encouraging these people to spend, then we'll keep on complaining and saying that, oh, things are not going well. There's a lot of money in this country. So the only difference is that the money is in the hands of the few. So the few who are having money will keep on telling us how things are tough, but they can be able to fly 3 times a week. They'll keep on telling us how things are tough. They can be able to spend millions in planting trees that are worth 200 shillings. They'll be able to tell us how things are tough, and you'll see them walking with some cash in handbags and paper bags in the name of giving people some handouts. So that is state that the country is. We are having a country that is now turning into it's an anarchy, actually. The country that you're having currently is ungovernable. Everybody is doing what they feel they can do, and very soon, even the citizens, we are also going to do what we feel we can do. So the country is out of control. If I can maybe sum it up, Kenya country is out of control. There is no point of command. There's nobody giving direction. So everybody is following their own direction, from the cabinet to the parliament and to the citizen itself.
I love what you have said concerning what the control of budget was able to raise. I'll be playing that clip in a short while. But even for an opening remark. Cornelo Chuka, let me ask you, kuko na msee mgonjwa who is seriously mental to the level that ana increase some charges not by 10 or 20% but 3000% in some charges. Do you think kuna msee huku ako just in need to sabotage, or ama everyone in government ameamua ku increase charges, ku increase fees?
I think MPs wa UDA, mi nitaanza na MPs wa UDA, wote ni wagonjwa na wote, sorry to say, ni wajinga. Secondly, ni ministers na ma-PS. Wote pia ni same to me. They don't know what they are doing. They don't even have a clue. Hata uliona venye Jamhuri Day walikuwa wana dance. Kenya imekuwa kama hauna pesa hauna. Tunarudi regime ya Moi. If you are poor, you are poor. Hamtaipanda for 20 or something years. So it is high time mimi kama Mkenya nikienda kulipa hizi takataka ambazo zimeongezwa, ni sisi kwa hiyo ofisi tugome na ifungwe, teargas ipigwe, tutoke nje bila any services, na tufanye hivyo kila siku. Tusiongoje Raila Amolo Odinga kuja tuambie, tusiongoje sijui MPs wametukosea, kwa sababu these things zinafaa kuja parliament, they discuss about them. Hata saizi hii wiki itaisha, next week pia itaisha, hautaona hata MP hata moja mwenye tarezi kitu. Ni only Millie Odhiambo, MPs kutoka Azimio ndio utaona watakuwa naongelea about wa Kenya. Alafu nasikia mtu anakuwa, nilikwambia Kenya iliharibiwa na watu wanne. Mtu wa bodaboda, mama mboga, Kikuyu alikasirikia Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta na Chebukati. Those 4 people were to mess till now. So MP, to me MP ni mtu wa kwanza kulaumu na wananchi venye leo amesema. Before nilipe hizi vitu, inafaa nilete chaos kwa hiyo ofisi, ifungwe, teargas ipigwe, staff wakimbie warudi home. Yes.
How do you explain kuchukua driving license inakuwa that expensive? Kununua gari, it will almost be a dream for the rich. You know, even buying second hand, not just a new one, second hand, change of ownership. The figures are almost, you know, they're not encouraging at all. And the only gari too, we haven't gone to other charges that have increased. What do you think is explaining all the need to change how we live by adding very huge levies? What is informing all this?
To me, we have people who don't care. As long as you can see your balance account is huge, it's like something to do with a million, I'm a billion. As long as you're earning money, not the same way we are earning money. You know, we wake up early in the morning, we sweat for us to get that money. Sindio? Now you find them wanapata kwa njia ya si halali. Kama hapa airport walisema waliweka backup generator, waliita meeting, kila mtu alikula 60 ama sijui how many sijui per watt, waliweka hapo catering, watu walipikiwa to discuss just on how to work on a lights. JKIA isiwahi tena blackout. The same people walikula hii pesa, wanakuja leo wanatuambia the same blackout ilikuwa na haikufanyika, nao walikuwa kwa meeting, walikula ile pesa yetu, wali import sijui generator gani, sijui they had to use another generator ilikuwa hapo, sijui ndio ifanye, sijui ili fail. It tells you venye tuko na viongozi wagonjwa. Viongozi ambao tuko nao ni wagonjwa, na solution ni moja. I want to tell Kenyans, hii kitu kwa mkono yenu, si Raila Amolo Odinga ama Azimio leaders. Ukiona viongozi wamekuja kwa ground kuongea na nyinyi, muwakataze. Mimi sijasema kiongozi apigwe, mimi sijasema kiongozi akimbizwe, nimesema kiongozi akatazwe na ambiwe, tuambie vitu za maana ambaye inaweza nisaidia mimi na watoto wangu. Unaelewa? So ukipata MP anaenda pale kama Millie Odhiambo anasema vizuri kwa kamera, hakukuwa Kimani Chungwa akipush hizi vitu. Right now Kimani Chungwa amekuja kupush hizo vitu, amerudi kuangalia, alimwambia vizuri sana, unaishi nchi gani yenye sisi hatuishi? Unaishi nchi yenye sisi hatuko hata hapo. Rudi hapa karibu na sisi, na kurudi karibu na sisi it means hata yeye mwenyewe aliogopa akachemka. So it means Millie Odhiambo huwa anaenda parliament kurectify makosa ambazo ziko hapo na kurectify Imani Chungwa. So MPs wa UDA wanatuangusha, MPs wa UDA wanatuangusha. It is not about UDA. Pale it's about the people. It's about the people. It's about you talking about what is your people undergoing. Hizi magari azinunuliwa na watu wa Azimio. Hizi driving licenses si watu wa Azimio wako nayo peke yake, ni mpaka watu wa UDA. So tukae chini, watu wa UDA waangalie na wao wenyewe waambie viongozi wao imetosha.
Okay, interesting. Ninajiuliza aje, at one time tuliambiwa ya kwamba maisha itakuwa sawa. In fact, the president boasted of how the economy is doing well. Yesterday he said that the economy is almost stable. One of the things that he was able to speak yesterday and categorically lays is that economy iko karibu kuwa stable, right? If truly the economy ingekuwa stable, do we need these high levies to be charged on the already suffering mwananchi? The cost of living hasn't come down for starters, but now we want to increase the levies, and then we want to make the taxes still part of the conversation as well. So mwananchi amekimbishwa kwa taxes, amekimbishwa kwa levies, na unajua levies zikipanda inamaanisha other things zitaanza kupanda, things associated with these levies zitaanza kupanda, so the cost of living won't come down, right? So when the president says that the economy is almost stable, that we are out of any distress, economic distress, we are on correct footing, do you agree with him?
To me, I don't agree with him. Ni ugonjwa tupu, because akikampaign alikuwa amesema atarudisha maisha chini. Maisha iko chini, maisha iko juu, na maisha iko much more worse than akichukua. It tells you that it means when the president was campaigning alikuwa anavuta bangi, because he told us ataweka maisha chini. Maisha ya kisasa na ile ya kitambo akikampeni tofauti. So it tells you somebody alikuwa anavuta bangi, kuna mtu alikuwa mlevi hapa. Hivyo ndio mimi nitasema, because hawezi kuja leo niambie umeweka maisha juu na huko kampeni ulikuwa unasema nitarudisha nitaweka pesa kwa the common mwananchi, pesa mfukoni. You remember those things, pesa mfukoni. Hata tukiongea unafaa kutafutia ile clip yenye unafaa kutafutia ile clip yenye Uhuru Muigai alikuwa anasema Asela atawale dynasty mbaya, kitu kama hiyo, because amesahau alikuwa anafanya nini. Alafu leo nimemsikia hata alikuwa anaongea, amesema ata push with the agenda akonazo, ako ready to take the consequences. Unashangaa mtu anasema so, kuna mtu what we have right now, kuna mtu mlevi na kuna mwenye anatafuta bangi. Na pia this thing goes to the wife of the leaders. In my own home, if I'm doing something bad, my wife will tell me. We have a lady, our deputy president, the deputy president's wife ameokoka. Tuna expect aongee na bwana yake. Same na our first lady ameokoka. Tunaongea, tuna expect aongee na rais wetu. They should tell them the truth. Kenyans are really suffering. Kenyans are really suffering na inaumiza watu. Tusiwache tu.
Okay.
The more tunawacha hivi, the more tunaumia. The more tunasikia hiyo pain. Yes.
Thank you so much. I'm coming to you just now. I'm happy to see my good friend Kip is in the house together with Leo and Cornelo Chuka. Karibuni sana wadau. We have to discuss this. I think someone is sick. From where I sit, someone should be checked, because and this I'm now asking to you, Mr. Keep. The CS says we are struggling. We are unable to pay our debts, to pay our CDF and all. The president says our economy is very stable. It's sound. We are okay. Two guys. Another one comes out and tell us the reason as why we're having power outages is because of overload, because of poor maintenance over a period of time. Then you ask yourself, kwani saizi ndio maintenance issue imeingililia? we are having guys increasing levies in very huge numbers, not even by 10, 20 or 30%, 3,000%, despite ile story ya tax levy kupanda na kuwa introduce kwa wananchi. Kuna mtu anaona wakenya bado hawajaumia. Kuna mtu anafeel we need to tax them even more, we need to increase levies, to increase taxes, na mwananchi status quo yake haija change, finances hazija increase. From where you see, do you think someone is sick? Ama sisi wagonjwa mpaka tunabebo tu kimalenge na hata we cannot defend ourselves. You know. Keep, how are you? Lakini karibu sana.
Tunasemanga kama wakale tukiliza ma-CS yamune sema stima missing.
Yamune. Stima missing.
Missing. The stima is missing, eh?
Missing.
Jakes, I'm happy you're back. Ile siku ulikuwa umesema unatoka, tulistuka bana, tuliusinika bana, nikaongea na rafiki yangu mtembee, mtu yetu anaenda. But I'm glad you're here now. It's good to see you again. You've always had, like, you know, moderate. Hata sisi tunakwanga na uchungu na hiyo UDA. You still make us feel that you're not taking sides. So good job. Good job. Good job. I will not mention the other people kwa sababu nikianza nitapiga kelele.
Okay.
You know how I am.
Yeah.
You've brought up some very interesting points. So I'll start. I know it's going to take a bit of time, but not too much.
It's okay.
I'll start with what you said about taxation and why taxation just keeps increasing in Kenya, and why is Ruto not aware of these things? Ruto is not my president, by the way, but yeah, is he not aware of this thing? He knows. He knows what he promised. He knows what he needs to do to what do you call it? To go with the agreement he had with the IMF and World Bank. So IMF and World Bank are actually located in Washington, D.C. And the goal of the IMF and the location of the IMF and the location of World Bank, they're all located in Washington, D.C. So it being located in Washington, D.C., these guys' their main goal in Africa or any other third world countries is always to keep us in debt. They'll always want a leader that is dictatorial. So the tax impositions or the tax levies that we have been imposed in Kenya is something that Ruto cannot do anything about. The deals he's had with the IMF and World Bank have forced him to do that. So that is the first ridiculous thing. So I'm not going to bring any Raila or Martha Karua stuff here. We're just going to talk about why the tax levies are there. It's just down to the West that is imposing to most of our African leaders these facts, whereby we are kept poor, and also that we are told not to produce any goods of our own. So any leader in Africa tries to do this, they're usually assassinated. We talked about the Tanzanian president, even the madman Gaddafi, where Africans being united to doing their own stuff or producing their own goods is no. So if you go to the bank in Kenya, so central bank in Kenya right now, most of the people that are in Central Bank of Kenya right now, this is down from Uhuru to Mwai Kibaki to even now, it's being run by this parasites of institutes called the IMF and World Bank. As Africa, we're wealthy. We can do this by ourselves. We can produce goods by ourselves. We can do this. So it doesn't matter what leader is out there in Kenya. Doesn't matter. It's just this disgusting habit that we have as Africans, whereby instead of people coming into power to serve the nation, I don't know what they do with this wealth. I don't understand. It's just a bad disease we have as Africans. It's just acquisition of numerous amounts of wealth. So, like, for example, if you come into the West, most of these people have already become very powerful businessmen. They've become champions of whatever industries they are. And what they're just coming to do is just serve their communities. So it's just somebody who's like, in the UK, we have Richard Sanach, whatever his name is. And he's a billionaire. Why does he want to be a prime minister? He's just coming to serve his people. Some people may not like his policies, but he's not there to kind of make money. Trump, wealthy man. Let's see, somebody else. We've got a few of these people that we cannot really compare to what we're doing in Africa. I mean, there might be some cheeky ways of cutting tax to make the wealthy brethren evade taxes, but it does not come to the cost of their people. King Simba, unfortunately, today I'm not here to talk about NAK Kenya. So, if you want, if you want me to talk about NAK Kenya, a question has to be posed about that. So read the title there. If it's here to get me angry, I'm not angry. You're in Kenya suffering. Niko hapa Europe. So kauko na inaitwaje hiyo, how do they say, hatupangwingwi, ndio hiyo. Me, I'm all right. For me, I follow that lady because those are my own political leads, my own political beliefs. I think she's good for the country, and that is me personally talking about me displaying what I like. But you've not seen me talk ill of anybody else. It's just my own political objectives that I'm displaying here. But did I mention anything about NAK Kenya doing anything to change the government or anything like that? No. We're talking about the status of Kenya right now. I think you're coming here to score politics. You mchezo ya elections iliisha, boss. It's done. What are we? You think it's going to hurt me now? People are suffering here, and we're here in discussions to discuss how to fix solutions in Kenya, and somehow somebody in the comments thinks they're gonna get a rise at me. Tupangwingwi. Thank you, Jakes.
Now let's come back. Let's come back to the topic. What is explaining this huge increment in a, we thought we were only complaining.
World Bank and IMF. World Bank and IMF. Think about it. He's going for those big loans right now. When he goes for those big loans, there's a small print there. There's a memo that went out last year that stated that Kenya has to pay their loans any means necessary, and they stipulate how it's going to be done. Why do you think he's stuck on the levies? He has to pay those loans back. And it's you, the taxpayer has to pay. You guys, as taxpayers, this is the problem with Kenyans. You guys, as taxpayers, you don't ask how that money is being spent. You don't question it. That is your problem.
Now, let me ask you,
as Kenyans.
When
so
you
even if you have a rogue leader, hold on. Even if you have a rogue leader, the question whether it's Azimio, because let me tell you the truth. MP, senators, governors, bure kabisa, all of them are stupid. I don't care what party they are from. This is my own personal. Hata ukiniambia Babu, ukiniambia sijui anaitwaje huyo Sakaja, sijui wote Sifuna, they're all useless. I'll tell you that. Let me tell you why I'm saying this as a truth. They do not know the amount of power they have. If you go to the United Kingdom, if you go to the United States, Senate can stop a bill from running. Why should the legislative go ask the executive how to spend the money that we have told them how to spend? We as the people have told them how to spend. That is the problem. We're still running under the Moi constitution, and we have very useless leaders. What ni bure. Anybody you elected in Kenya, first of all, yeah, for the Azimio people, let me just say this for the Azimio people. For me, believing that the election was stolen, yeah, I'm just believing the election is stolen. Who did you go hold on the Bible to say ati sijui naapa nini alafu president yangu ni Ruto? If you truly believe the election was stolen, none of you should have gone to that parliament, idiots, all of you. None of you should have taken oath in that parliament.
You're right.
I believe that. I look up to you people, and then you let me down. So mimi, nikikuja hapa, I just look at them. Me, I have no MP, I have no senator, I have no MCAs, because principles matter when you come to Kenya as a leader. That is a fact. So hii kitu yote ya World Bank na IMF, just think about it. Ruto is under fire. That is why he cannot let go of anything he imposes. It is what the World Bank wants him to do. He's just a caretaker of Kenya. Sorry.
Okay. Interesting sentiments from Kip. And equally, thank you so much for tuning in to this show. This is Africa 24. Tuko na tu show ambayo imeanza tu saa hizi. Oh, what? Tumeenda 46 minutes, eh? But it's now, ndio tunaanza tu warm up. Ndio tunaanza warm up, eh? I have with me Kenya Rebel, I have Kip, I have Ochuka, and of course Leo. If I come back to Leo, who had started, allow me to introduce Kenya Rebel. Kenya Rebel, how are you? How are you today?
Sema Jakes. I'm good. Nice to see new faces. Keep siku mingi bwana.
Now, let me ask you from where you are. Eh?
Yeah.
I don't know if you have listened to the first clip I've played. I have like so many others, but before I even go to them, the question on the deck is this: is there someone who is sick in our country who akiamka tu anafikiria how else will I get money from Kenyans? Eh? The taxes are huge already. Now we have gone to the levies. Now the levies are not just being increased by 10%. Others are being increased up to 300,000, 3,000%. Unakuta a fee that was, for example, 500, unachajiwa now 500,000. A fee that one time was 200 shillings now jumps up to 200,000. A fee that was 1,000 bob in a jump to 10,000. Others jump from, maybe, for example, if you want to begin a car dealership, getting that license was around 50,000. Now it's jumping to 150,000. What do you think is informing this high level of taxation and increase in levies, despite our wallets already zimefinyika? Sasa wanataka kufinya hata zaidi. What is informing such form? I don't know even what to call it.
Jakes,
but someone's sick really. Ama sisi ndo wagonjwa.
Jakes, can you hear me? Am I audible?
Very.
Okay. Hi Nyabaya, hi Ochuka, hi Kip. Now, of course, Jakes. Jakes, the joke is on us. They're not sick. The joke is on us. Mimi nilikuja nikawambia hapa, and I'm so glad Kip is just summarized what the problem is. I used to come here and say that, and people like Alex used to call me a conspiracy theorist. Now they can finally see. Our watu. Anyway, today I'm more interested with what Sabina Chege. I was listening to Sabina Chege today at Vibes Radio, and she said something really important.
We will go to that. We'll go to that. I want you to respond to this. Yeah.
It's connected with what you're talking about right now. Because usually I look at our, unajua shida, kama kuna shida, tuseme whether it's levy, high taxes, the nonsense that Ruto is trying to do, kuuza hizo maparastatal, we have to ask ourselves, what can we do as a people, as citizens, okay? Who is failing us? What can we do about it, okay? Keep saying it, our to vote, the MCAs, the Senate, the MPs, what are they doing? because we have 3 arms of government which should have checks and balances. Ruto akifanya kitu, they should check him. Ndio maana you see the few, and I know keep saying every MP is useless, but with a few exceptions like Okia Mtata, who use the constitution by going to the courts and challenging Ruto on that. And he has had some level of success. Okay?
No. Thank you very much for that. I ruled him out. Sorry. Because no matter how hopeless it is, he's tried his best. He's done his bit. Thank you. Sorry. I forgot about him.
You're fine. So imagine tungekuwa na Okia Mtata kaa watano. And there's another group called, I think it's Okoa Mombasa or something like that, who are also, digging in what the previous debts that we have taken. And because the constitution is clear, if these debts that we acquired, even if it's from IMF or whatever, if they were not approved by the parliament as it is required in the constitution, we the taxpayers can say we are not paying it. It's an odious debt. We shouldn't pay it. So our Akina Ruto, Murkomen, Uhuru, Moi, they're liable. Article 226(5). Go read it. Okay? Now, the reason why I mentioned Samita Chege is because Samita Chege was explaining how they got off Jubilee, and she mentioned she was questioning how come Uhuru Kenyatta he handed power to Ruto after warning us about this Ruto. Then after handing power, he comes in and tells us e-government ni ya waizi or whatever the case is,
Sorry, just one moment. Did you say Article 26(5)?
226(5).
Okay.
Read it
okay, go
loudly.
Ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
So what I'm trying to say is this, and I want to associate myself with Kip's sentiments. All of these people, whether it's Ruto's government, the opposition, because the opposition is part of government too. As Mio, they are part of government too. Okay, they cannot.
We are not in government. We are not in government. We are not in government.
Ochoka. Let me explain.
We are not in government.
Well,
we are not.
No. Hold on.
Civics 101. Civics 101. Ochoka.
Sorry. Let me stop him kidogo. Just let me interject kidogo.
Yeah.
The legislative is the opposition. Legislative as a whole. What?
Yes, the entire parliament.
The whole parliament is the opposition to the executive.
For the first time, allow me agree with the Kenyan revolutionary on one thing.
There's no position like opposition leader or opposition party in Kenya. The whole legislative is the opposition to the executive. There is just the minority and the majority. I can cross the floor and agree with
Let me be the judge now. And this is let me be the judge. Kip is right, but he's now destroying it when he's saying that the whole legislature is opposing executive. We are having 3 arms of the government: the executive, legislature, and judiciary. Actually, they're supposed to be independently, whereby the legislature will have to make and amend these laws. Then the executive is the implementing body that will put these laws into work. They will ensure that they operate. Then the judiciary, in case there's a disagreement, they will have to give an interpretation. And in our parliament, we are having a majority and a minority side. In the olden constitution, you used to have the opposition. So the majority and the minority side doesn't mean that one side is permanently opposing and one side is permanently proposing. They are bills brought by the minority. So in that case, the minority will be supporting the bill. And if the majority feel that the bill is right, they'll join them in supporting. And if they feel the bill is not right, they'll oppose it. So in that case, in that debate, the majority will succeed in opposing, while the minority will maybe defeated while defending the bill.
Okay.
So we need to do away with the term. But I know, there's something called culture. There's some words that we can't do away with. It's basically some basic information that we normally know in parliament. We have opposition and the government. So we are not used to this thing called majority and minority. So when we talk of opposition, I think we directly mean
12 years, Baba. We should be used to this.
Leo.
12 years.
Leo, let me finish. You know, I just mentioned one sentence now. Naona watu wanamchemka already. But thank you for correcting Ochuka. Because Ochuka thinks they're not in government.
Because
You are
unataka
in
tukuta
government
jina
as
Raila.
Azimio.
We know you. We know you. You just want to call Raila's name. We know you. Wewe Raila ni kama alikukosea sana. We know where you are heading. So Raila yuko kwa opposite. Where? Omera.
No, let's go. Ladies
Let
and
me
gentlemen,
finish,
let's
Jakes. I didn't
continue.
finish my Azimio.
Gentlemen, let's
No,
continue.
No, Jake.
Hold up. Let's not talk about Raila. This is
Yeah,
unfortunate.
let's stick to the debate.
Hold up. Let's
Gentlemen,
Jakes.
yeah.
One second. Let's not
Okay.
talk about Raila because Raila is a citizen. I don't know why people involve him in these things.
Yeah, okay.
We
But
won't,
This
I
act on
promise you,
government
I
policies,
guarantee you, we will work
and
very
his
hard to make
MPs are
sure no one
useless.
talks about
Hold
it.
on.
We are talking about the topic we
Sasa
are
sijamaliza hata
discussing here.
submission yangu mshaanza kunirukia.
Go ahead,
Baba
Kenya
bana.
Rebel.
Wachana na baba akumzike akae vile tukimuhitaji atakuja. For now wachana na baba, we are talking about other things.
Okay.
Hii mambo ingine yeah.
I
know. Go on, Kenya Rebel.
I know we don't want to name these names, Ruto, Uhuru, Raila, whatever, but unfortunately, these people are influential in our politics. They even though they might not be holding positions. Raila is still the head of Azimio, right? Ruto is the head of whatever, UDA or Kenya Kwanza, whatever the case is. But the point I was making...
How is that relevant to what we are discussing now?
But what can Raila do right now? What can Raila do? He has got no influence on the government.
I told
So
you,
stop it.
the only thing he knows is about Raila. You always call Raila's name anywhere.
Can I finish?
That's where he was heading.
Can I finish? Can I finish? Jake.
I'm saying you're talking about my phone. Can
I finish? Can I finish?
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. But stick to the topic so that we don't have
sticking to the topic, but I can't finish a
go
sentence.
Ahead. Go on.
So, kwani mlikula pilipili for lunch?
Go
anyway, what I'm saying is this: whether these MPs and senators are Azimio or Kenya Kwanza, they are part of government. So we as citizens, if we feel that the executive is doing something wrong, Ruto is selling our country, is doing all this kind of nonsense, okay? We need to demand. We have the sovereign authority. Article 1 tells us that. We can take our power back. That is what the Azimio people were trying to do when they went to Mandamano. They were saying they were trying to exercise their power directly. But the problem is the MPs did not want to resign in order for we, the people, to exercise our power directly. Okay? And they did not have the numbers to take off power. So what I'm trying to say is this. Okay? It starts with us. Remember, the BBI failed because it was an initiative that was started by the executive. So the court ruled that the president cannot bring in something, a referendum to the people. It has to come from the people. That's why I'm saying this NADCO thing will go nowhere. But again, to summarize, so before mwanze kunichapa makisu hapa, okay, because I have to go anywhere and watch the Newcastle game. But I wanted to say this, okay? We have been let down by every politician in Kenya, whether it's Kenya Kwanza or
Newcastle will lose.
I know. I'm a Chelsea fan actually, but unajua hakuna kitu tuangalie leo, so that's why I have to come and argue with Jakes. But to summarize, I was saying this: when this NADCO thing was approved by the NADCO head honcho, okay, I would give credit a little bit to Martha Karua, even though me and her don't get along. She had the balls to stand up and say, I don't agree with this. Okay, I'll give her 2 points for that. Her and that's Wamalwa brother. This actually exposed these guys. They only care. Imagine, they agreed. They were quick to agree on everything that has to do with them having positions, but could not agree on the very thing that took them to the streets, or supposedly that they told us to take us to the street, which is the cost of living. So to, again, connect it, the last sentence, to connect it with what Kip was saying, okay? We are busy calling each other to geges and sijui nini, sijui tulienjoyiwa, tulipangwangwa, sijui nini. But we can do some. It's time to recall these people. Let's claim our power that we have, the sovereign power we have by voting these people out, taking them out if they don't advance our nation. Whether it's Babu Owino, whether it's Raila Odinga, whether it's Uhuru Kenyatta, whether it's Ruto, Chikuru, Chirchir, whatever the case is. That's my point. Raila is a con man.
I didn't call Raila.
Now let's go on. Just a moment, Kenyaribel.
Boss, unajua ukianza kuongea juu ya Raila tunakosana hapo bana. Let's calm down.
Baba nakujua.
Raila bana. Raila ni sensitive bana hapa baba. Relax on Raila.
Achana na baba. Raila is not my father.
Achana na mama, achana na mzee bana, please.
Good night guys. I better Raila hata bila nilale.
Let's go on. Listen, gentlemen, let me bring you back to what we are discussing. And I agree from where you almost lost track, and let me bring you to that track. You said that Kenya lacks someone to really come out and defend them when the government turns rogue. In that, for instance, if now I bring in Leo, why is it that
No, hold up. No, you're not getting the point, Jakes. Kenya lacks unity amongst ourselves to fight for our own rights. It's not somebody, it's us. Your question is wrong. It's us.
Now,
why are we waiting for Raila? Why are we waiting for somebody else? Why can't we do this ourselves? The last time we did the Mandamano, we all left. We destroyed our opportunity as Kenyans to take in our power.
If we go to the laid structures, because we are a constitutional governed country, we don't just operate from the blues. The constitution has laid that the legislator will keep the government in check, but the legislator has failed, right? And I come back to what Kenyaribel has asked, who will defend us? Because I delegated my powers to the MP. I gave him the right to act how I would have acted. I didn't elect him to act on party lines, to go seek development only through the president, because the constitution guarantees development for every constituency, right? Why is it that when these levies are sky hiking, none of these MPs seems to be talking, and those who are talking are muted? Because Milo Jembo comes out and says someone is sick, someone must be mad, probably they're living in utopia, they're not understanding the pains Kenyans are going through. When it's about them, when it's about CDF, they will all be in parliament. When there is no sitting allowance in question, we won't have quorum in parliament. But when it's about Mwananchi, when it's about you and me, when the levies, you can imagine a levy that was 500 shooting to 500,000, and it was passed by these parliamentarians. The question is, what can Mwananchi do? Because it's as though we have so much money as a country, as Kenyans, as the population, that we can be able to pay the heavy taxes, pay the heavy levies, and even pay the huge fines. Yes, Kenyaribel.
When the parliament was going to pass those levies to go up, okay, they were supposed to have public participation, Article 118, where they were supposed to ask their constituency, sisi wananchi, mnaonaje hii levy tunataka kuipandisha? Should we pandisha? Where were you as a citizen?
I'll be playing a clip on that part of public participation, where a DC calls the general public for public participation, but the public is not told what they're going to discuss. The public is not aware what is the agenda of the meeting. So they come, the DC briefly to juju anaambia, by the way, tutafanya hivi na hivi na hivi. No questions, no feedback from the crowd. I'll be showing you one part of our public participation, and then after that public participation, you find Mwananchi anakuja anaongezewa this levy, and then they will say there was public participation. So the public participation in Kenya that happens, it's already choreographed.
Hold on. Public participation. The public participation in Kenya is going to talk about kulikuwa na mwizi hapa, you go to the chief, And then those guys actually meet and they talk about that stuff. So there's an adultery in the village or some nonsense about that, or bursary. That is public participation according to Kenya. The problem with Kenya is our civil education is crap. We do not know what we have. We do not know how to exercise our power.
Let me dandia your point, Yako. Very good point. And that's why the other day when we were arguing about the constitution, Alex was arguing that the constitution should be changed, it's not working for us. And I'm saying we're not implementing it. The problem, we are ignorant of what's in there. So to Kip's point, sisi hatujui public participation is what it is. We should be the one going to tell these MPs at hii kitu hizi levies atuitaki. That's why I keep on referring to, is it Wamuchomba, who was the UDA MP, who voted against the finance bill? She did something that's unprecedented in Kenyan history. She went and confirmed with the people, voted down the finance bill. They said, mimi nimeenda nikakonsult na watu wetu, wakasema hawataki hii kitu. Even though Ruto was
how many bills? Hold on. Kenya Rebel, how many bills in Kenya have been rejected since the new constitution? Nobody can.
How many
have been rejected from the executive? How many bills have been rejected?
I have to check. I don't have the number, the exact number.
Zero.
But there was some. No.
Zero.
There was some. Actually, there was some, especially
homosexuality. Hizi vitu za homosexuality.
No. Besides that, there's some which were rejected, because remember.
I think Kenya Revolutionary. Let me tell you one thing about Kenya Revolutionary that you don't know, for you to be able to argue with him and maybe make a point. Kenya Revolutionary, just from the rebellion, his problem comes from his cult leader. The founder of his church, Legio Maria, rebelled against the Catholic and told them they were going to heaven and took them to a certain market.
Legio Maria got to do with this? Really?
So that is why he's all over this kind of things. Okay. Anyway, let us proceed. SG Amekuja, Captain Tifa Kopale. Let me not go into that.
Okay, but I had asked you a question, Bwana Leo. Where will Mwananchi go to? Now, I've just remembered that the president today has said, by all means, the house levy will go on. Whether the courts, as I've heard Kenya Rebel praise Omtata, who went to court, and the court put a stopper. But the president has said, you know what? This thing will go on.
Okay, let me tell you one thing.
Or not. So Mwananchi cannot even go to court.
I'll tell you where Mwananchi will go. First of all, I'm sorry to go back to this. Kenya Rebel is here. He hates Uhuru to the core. Forget about that. Uhuru Kenyatta used to defy some court orders. Uhuru Kenyatta, sometimes he didn't obey the court orders, but he did it politely. He did it he disobeyed them with some respect. For example, when maybe told to appoint some judges, what he would do, he would ignore and just keep quiet. The difference is that we're having William Ruto, who is loudly, in fact, not even disobeying court orders, he's threatening. He is telling them that hii kitu hata museme nini, lazima itaenda. So, kuna ile njia unaweza fanya kitu, watu wakose kujua unafanya kitu mbaya. That was Uhuru Kenyatta. But kuna ile njia unaweza fanya kitu hata kama mtu wako anajua ni kitu mbaya, atakuja kurealize hiyo kitu ni kitu mbaya. So Ruto anatumia kifua na ni madharau. So where will Wananchi go? Wananchi, as Kenya Rebel is telling you here, the Article 1 of the Kenyan Constitution is what gives us power. It tells us that all this power belongs to us, the sovereign power. And that one is why Kenya is called a sovereign country, because the power belongs to the people of Kenya. So the people of Kenya delegates this power after every 5 years through, because we are practicing what is called representative democracy. So we do delegate this power. When I elect my MP at a place called Ugenya, I give this MP this power to go and represent me at the national level. You get it? So, but this power belongs to me. If I need it, if my MP fails, that is why the Constitution allows the right to recall the MP. I'll recall my MP and tell them, I delegated you to go and represent me to go and represent my view. But when you went there, the views you are representing are not my views. Now I want to take back my power. Ni kama ule player amepelekwa on loan. You know, so Kenyans right now, the only thing that can help us, it is a matter of fact, executive has failed us terribly. Whether you are UDA, you are ODM, you are partyless, you are Oikio Mtata's party, the executive has failed us.
Okay.
The only hope we had was in parliament.
Even as
the parliament has failed us. Then lastly, the judiciary
quick correction.
is for the rich.
Leo.
Yes.
Leo.
Yes.
We don't have to wait 5 years to recall these leaders. We don't have to wait 5 years. We can recall them before that 5 years, okay?
We can recall them before 5 years, but it is practically impossible.
Yes. No.
Just like impeaching president, it's practically impossible. The threshold cannot be met.
You can't. The threshold is quite high, and it's 2 years.
Yeah.
This is only 1 year, and these guys are still raping us. I'm sorry to use the R word in the channel.
No,
we are being raped by Akina Sijui Langatawan, and then the development kila siku huko. Development. Who the hell do you think? We are still running under Moi's constitution. Ladies and gentlemen, let us make it clear. Kenyans will be
Nitafikiwa saa ngapi?
Mimi natoka captain akikuja mimi natoka.
Now
kabisa.
One moment. Now let me come to captain.
FSG anangoja na keep anangoja pale.
Yeah. Now captain, let me ask you.
Captain, because captain is a fool.
Ati anasema mimi nani huyo jamaa?
Only best yako. Now, Captain, as you are coming in, let me ask you this question. The president said that our parliament is independent and that our parliament is stable, right? Or rather, like our parliament, this is what the president said, that parliament is now more than ever an independent organ of government, and party positions on national issues are clearly defined. From where you sit, is our parliament independent?
Okay, Jakes, let me answer you just using very simple a logarithm and all mathematics, whatever, where we were in school.
Logic.
When we say 1 + 1, who is talking now? Is it me or?
Go ahead.
When we say 1 + 1 is 2. Okay, protect me, because I see some of the people who still believe that we are in campaigning thing. They are holding banners of 2017 election.
The problem with you is common sense eludes you.
keep
okay, listen.
This guy is going to
listen, bro. Listen me very well. You know you are one of the adequate remains. That is the problem with you.
Go ahead, Mr. Captain.
What I was trying to tell you, Jakes, is that when we were in school, we were told 1 + 1 is 2, not 11. The way somebody holding the banner for 2017 general election, not even 2022, trying to tell us that the parliament is independent. There is no way that parliament is independent. We know. Why are you coming in front of us to tell us that parliament is independent? We were told the parliament is independent. Why should you tell us? We have to know it by the way they are doing their own things.
When they ask,
but the
do
parliament,
you see independence in them, Ama, they just follow orders from above. Especially,
of course, they are following orders from above. When the other day someone is paid to be,
I told you.
Listen, Jakes.
Keep let him talk.
Jakes. No, Jakes. Do this, Let's keep talk. When he finish, I come back.
You will lose brain cells listening to this guy. Let him talk.
Okay, no. Listen, Jakes. Let the so-called keep to speak. Let keep to finish talking all the nonsense and shit that he has, and then he comes back. I'll come back later on.
The floor is yours. Keep is going to mute or he'll be muted. The floor is yours, Captain. You need to talk. You can't run away because of Keep. You are man, but why are you running away? You speak.
No, I'm not running away. I'm trying to give him time to expose all his ignorance here. I'm giving time for him to sell us ignorance here. We
No,
understand his ignorance where
they
the
will
level of
listen
his
to you
ignorance
in
where it is.
silence. We are going to listen to you in silence. Keep knows that. We are going to listen to you in silence.
Okay.
Proceed.
Okay, very good. So you cannot come here and tell us that the parliament is independent.
Well,
The parliament is not independent,
we're
bro.
going to talk about. We're going to listen to your nonsense. Okay, speak your nonsense. I'll keep quiet.
Idiot. You continue putting the background of women. Why are you telling me that? Why are you telling me that? You need to respect me also. I demand respect also.
Relax, everybody. Now
Bro,
let's go.
Tutakupanga vizuri. Kama mlituambia tupangwingwi tuko wapi sahi? Tuko wapi sahi? Tutaweka tax mpaka tutakuweka tax ukienda mpaka kwa choo. Utalisikia.
Look, he's one of those guys who wants taxes to go
No,
up.
no, you are the one making me to be annoyed when I'm not annoyed.
Annoying about bringing taxes to our people.
You are annoying me. You are annoying me.
To bring taxes to my people.
Which kind of a man is this? You are giving. We are putting up women here for what?
Order, everyone.
And I'm talking. And I'm talking at the perspective of the platform. I'm not talking controlling my own house. Are you listening, bro?
One moment. We can have a civil.
So if you want everybody who is coming here to support you,
Captain, I need to make a ruling. Captain, relax. Calm down. Relax. Calm down. You guys come from the same neighborhood. You are almost brothers. Now relax. You even have the last name.
No.
Relax. Come on,
No.
relax. We can have a sound debate. Captain, I want to ask you. You say that our parliament. You say that our parliament is held captive, or rather, our parliament is not independent. Now, I see you're very angry. Allow me to allow you first cool down, then I'll come back to you, right? Captain, allow me
Mr. Moderator, there is somebody also called Annie. I think I don't know if she's joining together with the captain. Maybe you can allow SG to give us some wisdom to cool the ground. Then the captain will.
Yeah. I'll come to you next. Is it okay?
Let me move out. Let me come in. I want to be here until tomorrow morning. I want this guy called Kip. I want to deal with him.
No,
once and for all, to disappear this platform forever. I want to deal with him. I'll deal with you, my friend. I'll deal with you properly.
Nonsense.
Don't deal with guys here. We are having a debate. We won't have people dealing with one another. We have a huge debt. We have huge taxes. We have levies to deal with. Let's not deal with one another. SG, come out.
I'm good.
How are you, my brother?
I'm good.
SG, are you there? It's becoming hot between these two gentlemen. How are you? We can't hear you today. I don't know what is happening to your voice. Ama imeitisha ushuru.
What about now? Can you hear me?
Now we can hear you. I think you have paid your taxes and levies. Go ahead.
Hey, Maze, we have been penalized. We have a person who has what we call I think is an obsession of taxation. You know, obsession of taxation. And but on one hand, I am feeling okay because I knew this will happen. I think many people knew the kind of a person Ruto is. He has never built anything, so we knew he's going to make policies that are bad. He keep on saying that they are difficult policies, but these are just bad policies, you know. And therefore, it's funny, Jax. And you saw even our neighbors now, even the people we thought they are bad. The president of Uganda.
They look like angels now.
They look like angels because of our useless president here. Can you just imagine they can't even attend our Independence Day? Because it is a shame to be with a person who has no color, who has no policy, who has no stand. When he goes to Israel, he is an Israelite. When he goes to Palestinian, he becomes a Palestinian. When he goes to the US, he is a United States of America guy. He is a Westerner. Yeah. he's a funny man. He's in Ukraine. He is in Russia, and he's going to go down as one of the most incompetent presidents that has ever ruled a country. Because I can tell you, Jamaica have a better president, Gabon have a better president, Colombia has a better president, Kenya has a worse president. That's why you see he's determined. He's telling us, I'm deliberate. We have to take these taxes of Levies. But where are these taxes going? He's telling us he has stabilized the economy. Which economy has he stabilized? In his mind. Ama ni ile economy ya kuku. Pengine ile economy ya chicken. Which is being stabilized. But the economy we are having in Kenya, it is stuttered. People are closing out businesses. Yeah. In the whole CBD right now, there is no 5-star hotel. Yes. Nairobi people are running away. Businesses are going to TZ. And then you're telling me in a whole 17 pages speech that is so hollow that you have stabilized an economy. Which economy? So we are waiting for the day we are going to see this man out of power. We don't know how it's whatever is going to happen. We're asking God to take charge. Yeah, because me, I'll be one of the people who celebrates, yeah, like a mad person in the street. Because surely we are having a cartoon and a clown in presidency, as a president. Yes.
Now, when you look at all this increment, what is informing them? Because Kip says it's the issue of IMF and World Bank. But if you remember some of the things the president said sometimes back, he said that when you find yourself in a hole, the first thing you stop doing is digging. Or rather, he was implicating that when you find yourself, you have huge debts, the first thing you stop is borrowing. But it's as though that was just music to the choir, because he seems to be borrowing, and someone was saying he has borrowed 30% more compared to what Uhuru had borrowed in his first few years in office. Is he playing to the gallery that he's doing this, but in actual sense he's doing something totally different, and that is what is informing the taxes and the levies?
Yeah, before Kamau, before you go in, I just want to add something on Kamau. Kamau, let me just ask a question. SG, Secretary General, on the same thing. Is it the fact that imposing more tax on the wananchi means there's less spending? Imposing more tax on the people means that there's no circulation of money. So why is he insisting on us paying more taxes? I just need to understand ni nini huyu mtu ana mi nishakupatia my me and rebel revolutions conspiracy. No matter what you guys think about conspiracy theories, it's not a it's a fact. It's a fact.
Kamau, what do you think from
Is it that the West insists wamempatia blue card, wamempatia inaitwaje hiyo small print that he has to tax the Kenyans to pay back his debts, while we do not know where that money is being spent? SJ Kamau, where is this money going?
Yeah, there's a question. Hakuna kitu tunaona anafanya, hakuna barabara saa hii, hata mvua imenyesha imeharibu barabara, nothing is being tarmacked. All these taxes, where are they going? That is what we are asking. Because you cannot wake up one day and tell NTSA raise all the taxes. Now they are proposing on how to, if you want to change the color of your car, it is 20,000. If you want a license of, imagine, that is what percent? According to what that is it even 100%? That is 1,000%.
Unaumiza mtu yetu, unaumiza watu wetu, the people who voted you in Ruto. Wakale, unakuja kutuambia tuna tax ng'ombe. Ng'ombe. I'm a cattle person. You're going to tell me to pay money to keep cattle. And you know how important that is in my culture. Kuweka ng'ombe.
Crazy. It's crazy, bro.
Ladies and gentlemen, maybe probably you may be asking yourself, why are we talking about taxes and levies and all? Allow me to play a clip for you so as to keep you in terms of what we are discussing. Listen to this, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome back. The government has proposed policies and levies for civil registration, migration, and citizenship services that will likely dent further the depressed pockets of millions of Kenyans beginning January next year. Some of these fees have increased by up to 2,500%, making it difficult to afford these basic services. But how did the government come up with these new rates, and what impact do they have on the levies of ordinary Kenyans? KTN's investigative reporter, Ode Francis, interrogates this issue.
On the December 5th, 2023, the Ministry of Interior sent out a memo to all chiefs and assistant chiefs and other administrators, mandating them to urgently consult the public on the new rates of civil registrations of birth and deaths, as well as national identification cards and the passport services. But KTN News has determined that this exercise was not premised on the law that obliges public participation. The public was neither given enough time or information to share their views on the matter, nor did the government consider their feedback before adopting the new levies. KTN News has obtained a document detailing the proposed reviews, charges, fees and levies for registration and identification services. The document reveals a shocking increase in all fees related to these services, which some increment is as high as 2,500%. A sample of the table shows the percentage increase in the fees. Certificate of birth and death will cost 200 shillings, up from 50 shillings, an increase of 200%. Late registration of birth and death will cost you 500 shillings, up from 100 shillings, an increase of 500%. Re-registration of birth and verification of certificate of birth or certificate of death for private Kenyan agencies will cost you 1,000 shillings, up from 100 shillings, an increase of 900%. Amendment of a record of birth will cost a Kenyan 1,000 shillings, up from 40 shillings, an increment of 2,400%. To verify or authenticate a government service of Kenya agency, one will have to pay 500 shillings, up from 100 shillings, which is an increment of 400%. Amendment or addition or altercation of name of child of a record birth will cost 1,000 shillings, up from 40 shillings, an increment of 2,400%. To obtain vital statistical reports for private entities, one will have to pay 2,000 shillings, which is currently free of charge. The same applies to vital statistical report for Government of Kenya agencies, which will cost 1,000 shillings, also currently free of charge. If a Kenyan died abroad, his or her death registration will cost $150, equivalent to 23,000 Kenyan shillings with the current exchange rates. The same applies to registration of birth of Kenyan occurring abroad, which will also cost $150, up from 50 shillings. The State Department for Immigration and Citizen Services proposes to introduce a subsidized fee of 300 shillings for the application of a national identification card, which currently does not attract any user charges. For duplicate and replacement of ID, the State Department for Immigration and Citizen Services proposes to review the fee for this application from 100 shillings to 1,000 shillings to align it with the cost of production and the current market rates. For one to be issued with an identification report, the government proposes to charge 1,000 shillings, up from 300 shillings, an increase of 233%. This fee is chargeable to individuals and private entities, but not government institutions. Staff working in government ministries, departments and agencies will have to pay 1,000 shillings, up from 100 shillings, an increment of 900% to obtain a civil servant's card. They will also have to pay 1,000 shillings, up from 100 shillings, an increase of 900% to receive staff badges, which previously costed 350 shillings. But how did the government conduct the public participation on these new charges? We went to one of the meetings to find out if the public was adequately consulted and informed. In Kajiado County, Ngai Murunya, Ongata Rongai, at the DO's office, those who attended the meeting did not know the agenda until the DCC announced it during the meeting. The participants here were students who had come to apply for IDs. The Constitution confers right to participation in decision-making is guaranteed under Article 118(1) and B and 196(1) and B, which directs the national and county legislatures to respectively facilitate public participation in their work. But did the government follow the proper framework for public participation, which include placing adverts in mainstream media, both print and electronic, and providing feedback mechanism through drafting and tabling of the resultant report? Time is ticking to 1st January 2024. Ode Francis.
Now, time is ticking. Now, Kenya Rebel had asked about public participation, and that clip has a very well elaborate way in which the public participation was carried out in some certain part of the country. But after that, public participation, and of course, that reflects on most places in our country, the levies came about. Leo, let me ask you this. From where you see it and from looking at what we are discussing now, some of these charges are too high, that if, for example, Kenya Rebel, God forbid, akufe saizi akiwa majuu, right now, the charges from what I've seen, it's zero. But if he dies right now and he has to report to Kenya and all, he will pay $150. If he gets a child, right now it's 50 bob to do all that. He'll pay $150. That's around 23,000 Kenya shillings thereabout. What is informing all these huge charges? To get an ID is free, but now it will charge 300. Actually, I think this came down after the citizens complained. Uki misplace, it's 1,000 shillings. To change the name, bahati mbaya umepata mtoto ukakosea kuspell maybe jina kidogo, kuchange hiyo jina from 40 shillings, it's now 1,000 bob. What is explaining all this?
No, there's nothing explaining that. What we can say, it is just some greed to an extent that we also want to tax even the dead. Case whereby you die abroad, you'll have to pay $150 to register your death. That is roughly, currently, that is roughly almost 28,000 Kenyan shillings. Which if you don't pay, then I don't know what will happen, what they'll do with your body. So you want to tax even people who have died. So why do you have to pay money to register the dead? So who is going to benefit for registration of the dead? Who benefits? Do I stand to benefit? Lazima, when you get registered is when you will have to go to heaven. Why would we charge people for such kind of things to register the dead? Those are services that have always been free to get a death certificate. So it tells you, my friend, you are going to work hard to pay the government, to pay the taxes until you have to plan for your death. So ile mambo ulikuwa unasema hata sasa ukigongwa na gari eti sasa you are going to commit suicide, it's also going to be expensive, because committing suicide, some people are committing suicide because of poverty. They don't have money, they don't have anything to eat. So at the end of the day, you commit suicide, and to register your death, your family will have to pay something. So life is becoming unbearable. I used to read some books of history. There's a book, I'll get the title. It's a book that talks about, it describes how the world population has always been reduced. I know Kenya Revolutionary, I've read some of it. It's called Homo Deus, something like that. The author of the Homo, it's Homo something. And there is a time when the world, when they want to reduce the population, they used to introduce some diseases. They talk of how HIV and AIDS reduced the population of the world, the SARs, things like the corona. So I think Ruto is also devising some other ways that they're going to reduce the population. Kenya is really overpopulated, so they have to come up with ways of frustrating you. And the same government is telling you they're looking for you some jobs in Germany. But if you look at
Yeah,
the cost of
that was
passports
my
over
next
there, I
question.
don't know how people are going to make it to Germany without passports. First of all,
Mhm.
our machines doesn't have the capacity to print. Currently, you
Mhm.
have to wait for like 6 months. Then
Mhm.
they said there are people who are going to Germany next week. Sasa sijua watu wametoka wapi, wametoa passport wapi, wakienda next week. So it's really terrible. We are having a
Mhm.
failed government. But who do we
Mhm.
blame? We blame the
Mhm.
citizens. We are comfortable. We are
Mhm.
comfortable. What do? We make content out of it. The other day you said
Mhm.
that the president is a content creator. Yes, he's a content creator, but we
Mhm.
Kenyans are content consumers. So he's creating content for us. We're
Mhm.
consuming content. Today, when you go to internet, people are saying jirani hana stima, jirani hana chakula, jirani anaongea kizungu gizani, and people laugh, and that is the end of it. The next thing will happen, people will create content out of it. Actually, even our comedians nowadays, they don't have content, they wait for such kind of things. So they make fun out of our misery, then it becomes normal. People think, oh, this thing is funny, and that is the end of it. But the moment we'll start taking these things seriously as Kenyans, that is when we'll realize change. But as long as things happen, people create content out of it, then people create jokes out of it. That is what is going to happen. I told you we are going to be having a drama after every week. That lady wa mafuta, that case iliisha. Huyu mwenye alishikwa Nyakango sijui nini, hii pia itaisha tu. Ingine ikikuja stima, sasa we are discussing stima. Another one will come next week, and that is how
Okay.
Kenya is. So we blame ourselves. We are not yet ready for revolution.
It's content
So the
after content.
moment, actually, if we can have Ruto for another 10 years, I'm telling you, we will be able to change this country because people will be pushed to the wall and they'll be forced to act. And that action, nobody will ever want to play with Kenyans again. But as long as we are just joking, making fun out of it, nothing will change.
Now, Kenyans have been pushed to the wall in that you have made it difficult for them to survive. Now, listen to this. You want to take them abroad to work, all right? But if, God forbid, wapate watoi huko nje, to register them back in Kenya, very expensive. If by God forbid wapate something happens to them, wapass, it's expensive to register their death. It's equally expensive to even ship them back. So what are we doing? We want to send them out to extort them more. Why are we giving yet taking in a high or at a huge share of what we are taking is so huge compared to what we are giving back in return? And I remember the joke that the former prime minister said that mwananchi amekuwa taxed mpaka anasema fanya aje, badala unichukue salary, take my salary, give me the taxes, because the taxes are so huge compared to what we are earning. So why is it that William Ruto, the president, seems to work very hard to take people out, and then from the same breath has increased documents necessitating travel, like passport and all, to increase charges that affect that person in the event amepata mtoto, because we wish them all the best when they go out. In the event by bad luck or pass, those charges are high. What's happening from where you sit? Is it giving but taking twice what you have given?
Yeah, Jake. First of all, from your clip, I saw a little bit of it. I'm optimistic a little bit because at least there was some semblance of public participation, even though it
Was it
was
there really? Did you see what they were doing? There was
no,
not even
no.
notice the public to attend. Those who were there walikuwa wameenda kuchukua ID. They didn't come for the meeting. And then while they were there, they were told, unajua ni aje, as they have come for this ID from January, this is also, that was no public participation, for crying out loud. The public ought to have given their views, right?
Yes,
And then
yes.
the government as well ought to have given its standing at that particular moment. And then we come to a level of consensus. And now, after consensus has been reached, that is where we create policies. So Okay, unless maybe say Levi, what is public
No,
participation? But go ahead.
no. You're right. I'm just saying that it's a step from what we had before. Siku za Moi, it was never even mentioned. Your story konaisha tu kwa parliament. So I'm saying it's a step. It's a baby step. And thankfully, you have a platform like this one where we can actually educate or discuss it with the people who are watching so they can have an idea of what public participation is. When we had that finance bill, that was the most contentious bill that was most discussed in Kenyan history, from my understanding. Watu walikuwa wanaongea about it, people are debating about it, and this is how it should be. Now, that's why I keep on saying, and Leo also touched on it kidogo. You know, if there's, we have to pay attention to what these parliamentarians are passing in the parliament, okay? If somebody introduces a bill and they want to start debating it, we need to be vigilant, aware, and make these people know that, hey, rudi hapa mashinani tuongee, these taxes are killing us. Why can't we start? Jex, you should go to my channel and watch a live stream. I was talking about why a constitution is what makes us a republic, okay? And how we can educate ourselves and hold these MPs responsible so they can do what we want. And I gave an example of how the Azimio supporters forced Raila Odinga to make cost of living the #1 agenda in the talks. That was an example of how wananchi wakikasirika, they force these leaders to actually address this issue. Without that, they'll always do what they want. So we are spending a lot of time talking about how bad this government is screwing us up, but you're not spending enough time trying to explore ways of how we can get out of this hole and clip Ruto's power and even remove him if we have to, because we all agree, whether you're Kenya Kwanza or UDA or Azimio, that this government is screwing us with taxes, corruption, everything. So how do we do with it? How do we? That's the discussion where we should start having now. Okay. Yes, I agree. You should play these videos to show up how bad things are getting, but let's also be outraged and look for ways of how to get out. I mentioned one. I know you'll ask me how, and I'll say what I said the other day. Was it yesterday or the day before? Let us implement this constitution. It gives us power. Let's start exercising. Tujifundishe the power, the sovereign power that we have, and start demanding more from this representative. And if they don't want, we shall do what? We can exercise this power directly by removing Ruto. Tuende kama vile Sri Lanka ilifanya. Tuambie Ruto, toka. That's one way of doing it. Or we can recall these MPs, or we can tell these MPs to remove Ruto through Article 145, okay, through impeachment. So there's various ways where we can do it. We can't just keep on saying taxes in Nigeria, and we are giving up and say this cannot help. Let's start looking for ways of taking this thing out. I hope I made sense.
Okay.
Oh, and one last point to Leo. Leo was saying that Uhuru Kenyatta was ignoring the Nimio kwa upole, and Ruto is more arrogant than Uhuru Kenyatta. No. Uhuru Kenyatta was the most arrogant president, 10 times worse than Ruto as far as arrogance. I think you're forgetting. You're forgetting. I can play you. This man was literally alikuwa anatutukana na ni president na anajikuna matako mbele ya watu kama amewaka, amelewa. Don't get me started, Leo, but I don't want to go there today. I'm very sober and I'm watching the game.
Speaking the truth, sio kutukana. Mtu akikwambia ukweli, hiyo sio matusi.
No, unajua saa ingine nikitumia maneno mengine Jex ataniambia unapitia ndio. So I have to be very careful. Sitaki Jex aniume.
Okay. Now we have to maintain decorum and dignity of the show. Now, Captain, we were here just the other day seriously defending maandamano, and we're saying it's guaranteed in the constitution, right? And then our MPs were in parliament where they are supposed to be, where they ought to be. When all this is happening, why are they silent? You know, Mwananchi amewaonyesha that we can go to the streets, so we cannot blame Mwananchi for not willing to showcase his anger and frustration. But why is it that this anger hasn't reached the people tuliwachagua wa to represent? Why is it that ule mbunge wa Kisumu na ule mbunge wa Bomet hawajasikia kilio cha mwananchi? Because mwananchi ndio aliwachagua. They were not elected because of ODM or because of UDA. Because if it is only a party that makes you win an election, we have seen big parties shrink with numbers, right? Because it's mwananchi who decides this is the person we want, this is the leader we want. But wakiingia huko ndani, they forget about us, you know, they forget that it is mwananchi who took them there. So mwananchi has come out and said the cost of living is unbearable. We can't survive, we can't afford. And when this levy, because some of these things are passed in parliament, some of these taxes are passed in parliament, mbona mwanasiasa especially kiongozi apuuze kilio cha mwananchi?
Okay, Jakes, ni mimi ya?
Ni wewe captain.
You are addressing me. Okay, no problem.
Yes.
Let me say this, Jakes. Even though I've been attacked and the attackers are no more here, they have gone away with their banners of 2017 and they are still dreaming of I can't even say. But
Okay, go
I
ahead.
had done myself properly. I had done myself properly to deal with him, and I was even to ask God to give him hair. Okay, let me say this, Jakes. Our people, those are Kenyans, including me, you, Nyabaya, and Kenya Rebel, we want the best for our people. But our MPs, we elect them, they come to us during elections, campaign, t-shirts, nini, kofia, but wakifika pale bunge wanaongwa na pesa mingi sana. Do you expect mtu amepewa milioni ya bure na mshahara tena iko pale akuje akutetee tena? Ama anakuja hapo karibu 2026, 2025 hapo aanze kukutetea? That is just what I can say. Because these are the people we know them. Even right now, saya wachukui simu zetu, lakini ngoja ikaribia hapo 2027. Wataanza kutuongelesha. Hata sasa nasikia wengine wenye wako opposition wameanza kupiga masimu 2027 takuwa kwa debe ni aje? Si utaniangalia kwa group hii mtengeneze group nini? Unaona? So, Jakes, si maajabu hiyo kitu unauliza. These people kila mtu anajitafutia kwa hii maisha, kwa hii dunia saa hizi. Apart from tunangoja kukufa, lazima tutafute pesa. Sasa kila mtu anatafuta pesa kulingana na penye anafikia, ile wanasemanga mbusi anakula kulingana na urefu ya kamba yake. So kwa wao saa hizi penye wako wanakula State House, bunge na mwananchi wa kawaida. So sisi wengine tuliwapiga kura tukijua watatutetea against even the cost of living as it is right now skyrocketing. They are not doing that. But they are every weekend they come home na watetea pale barabara namna hii sijui nini pale, unaona? Mara CDF. But there's nothing surely they are doing. They are doing nothing. Unaona? Hii nchi hata sasa hata in fact kama kuna mtu hata sasa inafaa relax tu ni Raila, kwa sababu kumbe nimekuja nikaona Raila kumbe alikuwa anajua. Yeye ametulia tu. Hata nyinyi mfeel. Just feel it. Kenya Rebel, I know you are opposing it. Just feel it the way it is. Even some of us when you tulisema.
So Wakenya wanataka kusema wenye wengi wanasema ati Wakenya wakule ujeuri wao kiburi
Wakule sasa ujeuri yao.
Hata sasa ile kiburi walikuwa nayo.
Ni ngumu.
Wacha nikuulize Captain, Wakenya walifanya nini? Nauliza wewe unasema wakule ujeuri wao. Ujeuri wao ni nini? Hiyo ujeuri walifanya nini ndio unasema ni wajeuri ati wawache wasikie vile wanasikia?
Kitu ya kwanza Kenya Rebel. Uko na pesa kwa mfuko yako sahi? Pesa mfukoni, uko na pesa?
Haya, sina pesa. Wacha niseme sina pesa. Okay.
Tuliambiwa pesa mfukoni. Pesa iko wapi? Tuliambiwa hawa wenye wanaongezea mwananchi wa kawaida mafuta hawajui maisha ya mwananchi wa kawaida ni nini. Ajui mafuta kwa mtu wa bodaboda, ajui maisha ya mama mboga. Tuko wapi saa hizi? Mafuta ni pesa ngapi? Surely atuongee tu kweli. Hiyo vitu zingine yes angefanya vile angeweza, lakini mafuta ile inagusana na mwananchi, stima na amekuja na Asada Fund, of which sometimes hata mimi naona hiyo si mbaya, iko sawa. Fertilizer alipunguza, lakini sasa akipunguza fertilizer alafu tena bei ya mahindi inapunguzwa pale, what does it mean?
Lakini mimi nasema hivi, captain, kama tukienda uchaguzi na kuna watu wawili wamesimama ama watu watano ama wanne, okay, hii ni demokrasia. Watu waliangalia wakasema, kwa sababu kumbuka Raila alisema ati akiingia akishika uskani ataendeleza zile kazi ambayo Uhuru alikuwa anafanya. Na kama unakumbuka, bei ya maisha ilikuwa inaenda juu, bei ya mafuta, bei ya kila kitu ilikuwa inaenda juu. Sasa watu wakasema, unakumbuka watu walikuwa wanasema ati amalize, Uhuru amalize aende atoke. Sasa sasa vile watu walienda uchaguzi, watu wakasema unajua nini? Wacha tujaribu tupatie Ruto, maana tunaona anasema hao watu ni sisi ni mahasla au ni watoto wa ninio, watoto wa wadosi ama deep state or whatever it is. Sasa wewe kama mwananchi ukipigia mtu kura, hata kama alikudanganya, kupigia mtu kura si ujeuri. Wewe umepiga kura kama umefanya kazi yako kuparticipate kwa democracy, si ujeuri. Wewe ulipiga kura. Sasa wacha nimalize kidogo. Sasa Ruto akishapata hiyo kiti, akianza kufanya vitu ambayo tulikuwa hatujatarajia, sisi wananchi ambao tulipigia kura hatuwezi kunyamaza tu tuseme sasa sisi tumemchagua, sasa tukule ujeuri yetu. Si ujeuri, sisi tulifanya kazi yetu kama wachaguzi. So what we should do is this, tunafaa tumwambie wewe ulitupromise hivi 100 days utatuletea hustler fund or whatever the promise alikuwa anasema. Asipofanya hivyo sema iko wapi, tumulize. Na tunaweza kufanya hivyo by using our MPs. Tunawaambia fanya hivi. Ndio maana this is an idea that I want to borrow from bunge la wananchi Jakes. If we can have a bunge la wananchi, something similar, every Tuesdays and Thursday in all the 290 constituencies, okay, wananchi wanakutana, wanadiscuss issue ambayo wanataka irudi, kama ni mafuta ama nini, alafu wanaenda wanaambia MP wao, wanasema hii ndio kitu tunataka, peleka huko kwa bunge, mrudishe hii kitu chini. In all the 290 constituency tunaweza kuwa na maendeleo, unaona? So we can use that to something like that. Lakini kusema ati sasa tunakula ujeuri wetu, Raila akae anyamaze, ati kupigia mtu kura si ujeuri, that's your democratic right. Lakini kazi yako kama mwananchi haishi hapo. Your responsibility or your role as a citizen does not end by just voting and going back home and expecting results. Fuatilia.
Okay.
This is
Okay.
Now, I want kidogo tu
hata nimueleze Kenya Rebel kidogo, Jex, kidogo. Tukisema mkule ujeuri yenu Kenya Rebel, yani hatujamaanisha kwamba wale walipiga kura ndio wakule ujeuri. It's just but a literal word tunaitumia tu kwamba ile, hata mimi mwenyewe nilipiga kura huko, lakini hatujatumia ile that ni direct, but sisi let's serve together because tulisema tupige kura pale, but hakuna mtu amewachukua kuwa we mean what we say, but ile tulifanya tukapiga hiyo kura, tunavuna hiyo mazao ya sasa. So Kenya Rebel, usichukulie ile direct hivyo, hapana. You understand what I mean?
I understand.
So in short, apandacho mtu ndicho anafaa kule.
Exactly.
Ngoja Jex, ngoja kidogo. Ngoja.
You have to accept it because the way hatuna dawa ya hiyo. Dawa yake tu
kunayo. Si uje. No.
Ni mbali bro. Ni mbali.
Captain. Nisikie. Kama kupiga atukuli ujeuri, maana sisi vile tulipiga, alituambia vile alienda kusimama, alituambia atatufanya ABCD. Sasa sisi mpaka pia tufuatilie, maana anaweza maybe amesahau, maybe vitu sasa mpaka tufuatiliwe. Sasa hatuwezi kusema ati sisi tumepiga kura, sasa tunafaa tukule ujeuri yetu kwa sababu tunafaa tufuatilie, tumkumbushe na tumwambie Ukiendelea kufanya hizi vitu na kupandisha ushuru, tutakutoa. Sisi hatutakula hiyo ujeuri. Ujeuri ni yeye ndio mjeuri. Na kama akianza ujeuri tutamtoa.
Okay.
Bas, hapo sasa kwa kumtoa nataka tushikilie hapo Jakes wrap up the story alafu tuendelee from there.
Okay.
Tutasaidiana mimi na wewe kumtoa.
Tunapotuendelea Nyabaya, I want to come to you, but before I come to you, I'll play a clip, and I want you to answer this question for me. That very soon our children will be going back to school, but the government is quick to charge these institutions. Kama shule iko na swimming pool, ushuru itakuwa inalipiwa. Kama shule iko na basi, and eventually taxes za shule zita increase. It will be almost huge in terms of how much we pay at the moment, because most schools are not free, and what happens in January. But our MPs were quick to ask for CDF, ndio watulipie school fees. But before I come to the CDF issue, listen to this clip, ladies and gentlemen.
Is tax after tax. There appears to be no reprieve for Kenyans as the government plans to introduce new taxes, including reviewing tax on goods, that is VAT upwards, a move which, if implemented, will increase prices of all consumer goods. The National Treasury says the raids on taxpayers are aimed at helping the government raise funds for development projects. The new taxes contained in the proposed medium-term revenue strategy covering the financial years 2024-2025 and up to 2026-2027 also seek to institute taxation on education and insurance services. Of vehicle owners will also pay a new tax separate from the insurance cover. Chamutai Goin reports.
Despite the uproar that greeted the Finance Act 2023, which imposed additional taxation measures on an already heavily taxed population, it appears the government is not done yet. It is still out to inflict more pain on Kenyans, with further raids on their pockets in a bid to finance its development plans. The medium-term revenue strategy covering the 2024-2025, 2026-2027 financial years is undergoing public participation. Kenyans have until October 6th this year to submit their views. The revenue plan proposes to review the VAT rate and align it to that of other EAC member states, which are at 18%, to ensure the tax framework is consistent. This, if implemented, means an increase on the cost of all manufactured goods, including consumer goods. Further proposals include removal of the VAT exemptions and zero rating of goods, and also reintroduction of a minimum tax regime to deter companies and other entities from tax evasion through under-declaration. Despite the competency-based curriculum CBC engaging pupils in more extracurricular activities, the government has proposed the introduction of VAT on services provided by the institutions that are not directly linked to education. This could include swimming and other non-educational activities. In a move that could squeeze salaried Kenyans further, the National Treasury is also seeking to eliminate personal reliefs that arise from, among others, insurance and medical. Motor vehicle owners will also be punished for owning a car, besides numerous taxes they pay, including fuel levy, insurance cover and road levy. The new tax plan seeks to introduce an annual motor vehicle circulation tax that will be paid during the acquisition of insurance cover. The vehicle's engine capacity will determine the tax amount payable. And as the government moves to align its action to also aid in mitigation effects of climate change, the National Treasury has proposed an increase in excise taxes on vehicles that use fossil fuels, including tractors, forklifts and excavators, among others. Excise duty on petroleum products will be reviewed, while the same will be introduced for coal. Despite the government's push to have farmers increase their activities to facilitate food security, the Exchequer is seeking to impose a not more than 5% tax on agricultural produce. and in what the government says is a move to discourage the consumption of alcohol, tobacco and sugar-sweetened non-alcoholic beverages, which pose a great health risk. The National Treasury has proposed to increase excise duty on the commodities, an action that is likely to see the prices shoot up. Alcohol consumers will pay taxes commensurate to the alcohol content of the drink one enjoys. In mounting a defense for the strategy, National Treasury Cabinet Secretary Professor Ndungu says it will help the country raise the funds needed for the implementation of the bottom-up economic transformation agenda beta, and also align Kenya's revenue yield to the East African target of 25% of the GDP. Currently, the country's collection is at 14% of the GDP. Ndungu says ordinary revenue will rise to 5% if the strategy is adopted. And even as Kenyans submit memoranda on the proposals, the plan is expected to generate heated debate since the economy is yet to bounce back since the COVID-19 pandemic, while the paycheck thins by the day.
Now, the paycheck is thinning because of the taxes. But when you listen to the taxation about to happen from January, some of these things will take effect from January. Where will mwananchi find a safe haven? Honestly, tutapotelea wapi raundi ama tuumie tu polepole leo?
Yes, Jeff. The last part is really interesting, whereby the tax for wale wa levy kama sisi will be based on the content of what you consume. And I'll tell you, the target ni hustler. That person who takes Chrome, which is 40% alcohol. The rich takes wine, which is 4 to 6% alcohol. So before I make a comment, Ida Barak has requested that we play the high cost of living according to the Tifa survey. So let me just play it. It's a 2-minute video, then I'll proceed with that.
Now, 84% of Kenyans consider the current economic conditions to be worse than what it was a year ago. According to a survey released by Tifa Research on President William Ruto's government performance, the survey revealed that the rising cost of living has forced 87% of Kenyans to reduce expenditure on various items, including food, transport, clothing, education, cooking fuel, and electricity. Now, the survey conducted between November 25th and December 7th, involving 3,009 respondents, revealed that 84% of Kenyans have reduced their expenditure on food, on transport, clothing, entertainment, educational items, cooking gas, and electricity. Surprisingly, 77% of those who support the Kenya Kwanza government feel that the current economic conditions are worse compared to last year. 39% of Kenyans feel that the cost of living remains the main challenge facing the Kenya Kwanza government, followed by corruption at 15% and debt repayment at 8%. The survey, which also rated the performance of cabinet secretaries, placed Interior Cabinet Secretary Professor Kithure Kindiki at the top with 65%, while Energy Cabinet Secretary Davis Chirchir, who has been on the receiving end following cases of power outages in the country, has been rated as the worst performing cabinet secretary with a score of 19%.
Expenditure, you know that almost everybody has been suffering. And then we ask them, what are the two main things of those 87% who've had to reduce expenditure that you've actually reduced your expenditure on? And a clear majority, 84%, said food. Again, you can see people who are a bit better off, earning more than 20,000 shillings a month. The figure 79% is a little bit lower for the people in the other two categories. How that's going to impact on their health, even on mortality, goodness knows. But we can see the situation is extremely difficult.
Yes, I was really surprised yesterday when the president was giving some report on the economy. And he did say that inflation level has reduced from 9.2% to about 6.8%. So I don't know
5.8. 5.8.
Was it 5.8? Or I don't know which parameters he used to give that information, but I forgive him because he's not an expert in economics, and the advisors who should be advising him on the matters of economics, like David D, have already told the public what the situation is. So even the president has been left alone without the advisors. So he just have to speculate because he doesn't know the truth. So that is the state of the matter. You've seen that Tifa report is telling you how Kenyans are feeling, and a commanding majority of Kenya can tell you that life is unbearable compared to the previous years. So that one tells you, if you want to compare the Uhuru Kenyatta, the drunkard's government, to William Ruto's government, you'll say that Uhuru Kenyatta's government, even though it was not good, but it was better than what we're having now. Despite the fact that during that time we had some pandemics like the corona and the war between Russia and Ukraine, which really, we know the fertilizers and everything that comes from Russia and things to do with the oil. So right now, the only war that we're having is, actually not having war, but we're having some small dispute between Israel and a section of some Hamas, which is not Palestine. It is a section of Palestinians. And there's nothing economically that it's affecting us as a country. But we are really struggling. So we only thank God that William Ruto became president when we didn't have Corona. Had he been the president during Corona, he would be actually moving from country to country, bringing more viruses, and people will die of hunger. So we thank God for that. Number two, Kenyans are left on their own.
To be fair to him, there were no planes then. The world had literally come to a stop. So to be fair to him, I don't think it's fair.
He's a miracle worker. He would have gotten ways of of getting out of the country. And secondly, on maybe the clip that you paid, the fee is going to be added. This fee that yes.
Yes, Anyaba, if I may say, I think in this government, we will be reminding them that you are forgetting to tax this and that. Because we cannot even now complain of taxing everything. We will just remind them they are forgetting to tax.
No,
everything.
they've already taxed everything. There is nothing remaining. Like to tax
we are
the
taxed when
content.
you go to toilet. You have to
if
be
you
taxed.
take tea, Jex, they'll tell you they'll be taxing you based on the amount of milk you use in preparing that tea. So if you prepare some thick tea, then you'll have to pay higher compared to somebody, because that is where we are heading. That is where we are heading.
If you will pay more because of the concentration of the
alcohol.
alcohol.
Have levels of taxation. But the question that somebody will be asking, you are taxing us, but you are not creating sources, you're not giving us ways of getting this income. Because for you to tax somebody, you need to create that income so that you tax an income. But you are taxing somebody who is not having any income. You are having your small shop, instead of expanding this shop so that we can be able to make more money, so that you can be able to make something out of that tax. But now you are reducing our capability, then you want to tax us. What do you want us to do? It is going to reach a moment in this country when people will not be paying these taxes. Our kanjo watakuwa wanapigwa, our KRA watakuwa wanapigwa. That is when you'll know that a revolution is now ringing. But it's going to ring soon. I thank William Ruto for pushing Kenyans towards that direction. Because if things doesn't change, I can tell you, in the next 2-3 years, Kenyans will now start rebelling. People, like right now, Kenyans are not that patriotic. That patriotism is now getting out. People are just forcing themselves to be Kenyan. Very soon, things are going to be out of hand and out of control.
Okay. Someone has asked me if I have any Swahili version, because hii explanation ya Kizungu inatukimbisha. I don't know if I can be able to play this one in Swahili.
Kwa taarifa hiyo kutoka kaunti ya Turkana, mtazamaji, serikali bado ina mpango wa kuongeza ada ya stakabadhi na vile huduma muhimu za serikali licha ya kusitisha mpango huo awali baada ya kilio cha Wakenya kutohusishwa kwa umma. wanaotaka kujisajili kupata vitambulisho kwa mara ya kwanza, kwa mfano, watatozwa shilingi 300. KTN News sasa imebaini kuwa Wizara ya Masuala ya Ndani imewatumia machifu maelekezo ikiwataka kuhusisha umma kuhusu ada hizo mpya ambazo zinatarajiwa kutekelezwa kuanzia tarehe 1 mwezi wa Januari mwaka ujao. Mtazamaji, na kuacha na taarifa hii kutoka kwa mwanahabari Ode Francis akiarifu zaidi.
Disemba tarehe 5 mwaka 2023, Wizara ya Mambo ya Ndani ilituma maelezo kwa wakuu wa wilaya pamoja na machifu vijijini ikiwaagiza kushauriana na umma haraka iwezekanavyo kuhusu viwango vipya vya usajili wa huduma za raia na vifo pamoja na vitambulisho vya taifa na pasipoti. KTN imegundua kuwa hili lilikuwa ni zoezi ambalo halikufuata sheria wala taratibu bora za ushirikishwaji wa wananchi. Umma huenda haukupewa muda au taarifa za kutosha kutoa maoni yao kuhusu suala hilo. Hivyo serikali haikuzingatia maoni yao kabla ya kupitisha ada hizo mpya. Licha ya matozo hayo mapya kuchapishwa na kupingwa vikali na Wakenya, yaonekana serikali imekata kauli kuendelea na ada hizo. Kulingana na stakabadhi tulizonazo zilionyesha ada mpya zilizopendekezwa. Kuna ongezeko la ada zote zinazohusiana na huduma za vitambulisho, huku zingine zikipanda hadi 2,500. Jedwali hili linaonyesha ongezeko la asilimia ya ada itakayoafikiwa Januari mosi mwaka 2024. Cheti cha kuzaliwa na kifo kitagharimu shilingi 200 kutoka shilingi 50, ongezeko la 200%. Kuchelewa kujisajili na kifo kutagharimu shilingi 500 kutoka shilingi 100, ongezeko la 500%. Usajili upya wa kuzaliwa na udhibitishaji wa cheti cha kuzaliwa au cheti cha kifo kwa mashirika ya kibinafsi ya Kenya utagharimu shilingi 1000 kutoka shilingi 100, ongezeko la 900%. Ili kudhibitisha shirika la serikali ya Kenya, mtu atalazimika kulipa shilingi 500 kutoka shilingi 100, ongezeko la 400%. Marekebisho ambayo yanahusu kuongeza au kubadili jina la mtoto ya rekodi ya kuzaliwa yatagharimu shilingi 1000 kutoka shilingi 40, ongezeko la 2400%. Ili kupata ripoti muhimu za takwimu kwa mashirika ya kibinafsi, mtu atalazimika kulipa shilingi 2000 ambayo kwa sasa haina malipo. Hali hiyo itatumika kwa ripoti ya takwimu muhimu kwa mashirika ya serikali ya Kenya ambazo zitagharimu shilingi 1000 ambayo hayana malipo kwa sasa. Katika kupata cheti cha mtu aliyeaminika kufariki, familia italazimika kulipa shilingi 1500 kutoka shilingi 50, ongezeko la 2900%. Kwa wale walio katika mataifa ya kigeni, serikali imependekeza kuwa kuanzia tarehe 1 Januari mwaka 2024, udhibitishaji wa cheti kwa mashirika ya kibinafsi ya kigeni utagharimu $1000 sawa na shilingi 15335 za Kenya kutoka shilingi 100 ambayo ni ongezeko ya 15235. Iwapo Mkenya alifariki nje ya nchi, usajili wake wa kifo utagharimu $150 sawa na shilingi 23,000 za Kenya kutoka shilingi 50 ambako ni ongezeko la 45,800. Hali hiyo inatumika kwa usajili wa kuzaliwa kwa Mkenya unaotokea nje ya nchi ambapo pia utagharimu shilingi 25,000 kutoka shilingi 50. Idara ya serikali ya uhamiaji na huduma kwa raia imependekeza kuanzisha ada ya shilingi 300 baada ya ruzuku kwa matumizi ya kitambulisho wa kitaifa ambacho kwa sasa haina malipo yoyote ya mtumiaji. Kwa nakala na ubadilishaji wa kitambulisho, idara ya serikali ya uhamiaji na huduma za raia imependekeza kufanyia mabadiliko ya ada ya ombi ili kutoka shilingi 100 hadi shilingi 1000 ili kuendanisha na gharama ya uzalishaji na viwango vya sasa vya soko. Ili mtu apewe ripoti ya kitambulisho, serikali inapendekeza kutoza shilingi 1000 kutoka shilingi 300, ongezeko la 233%. Ada hii inatozwa kwa watu binafsi na mashirika ya kibinafsi, lakini sio taasisi za kiserikali. Wafanyikazi wanaofanya kazi katika wizara, idara na mashirika ya serikali watalazimika kulipia shilingi 1,000 kutoka shilingi 100, ongezeko la 900% ili kupata kadi ya mtumishi wa umma. Pia watalazimika kulipa shilingi 1,000 kutoka shilingi 100, ongezeko la 900% ili kupokea beji ya wafanyikazi ambazo hapo awali ziligharimu shilingi 350. Lakini ni jinsi gani serikali ilishirikisha umma katika mapendekezo haya mapya? Tulienda kwenye moja ya mikutano ambayo ilifanyika kote nchini ili kujua kama umma ulishauriwa vya kutosha na kujulishwa. Katika kaunti ya Kajiado, wadi ya Nkaimurunya Ongata Rongai, katika afisi ya DO, waliohudhuria mkutano huu hawakujua ajenda hadi wakati mkuu wa wilaya DCC alipotangaza wakati wa mkutano huo.
Sasa sijui nini iko hapa. John ndiye ameniambia nikuje na mama.
John ni nani?
John yule anakaa kwa machifu.
Walioshiriki hapa walikuwa ni wanafunzi waliokuja kutafuta vitambulisho. Tuliwauliza ikiwa wanahisi huu ulikuwa ushirikishwaji wa umma au la. Kulingana na katiba, haki ya kushiriki katika kufanya maamuzi imehakikishwa chini ya kifungu 118 moja na ba na 196 moja na ba, ambavyo vinaeleza kuwa mabunge ya kitaifa na kaunti kuwezesha ushiriki wa umma. Lakini je, serikali ilifuata mfumo ufaao wa ushirikishwaji wa umma ambao ni pamoja na kuweka matangazo katika vyombo vya habari, vya magazeti na vile vya elektroniki na kutoa mbinu?
Yeah, so kuko hivyo leo, what do you think? Now that was the Swahili version of someone had requested, because the Kizungu one so you're trying to balance everyone, including wale wataka in Swahili version. But Leo, you are responding to something even before I played that video. Leo, are you still there with me?
No, I think no, that is just overburdening. The government is looking for all the ways to get money, but they've failed to create money. They've failed to create some enabling environment for getting money. Things like enabling the SMEs that we were told. Yeah. So this thing called Hustler Fund, that is why somebody should never tell that this Hustler Fund is not working. The government is looking for all the ways of collecting money. So this one will not work because nobody will be able to get these services. There are some services that people know that no government charges you to get an ID, that you've lost your ID, that now you have to pay. You want to make some amendments, even marriage certificates and the death certificates. No, these are things that people, they don't see value in it. So there's no way you will generate revenue from the death certificates and whatever. How many people die there and they don't even bother to go and register this kind of deaths? How many people are married there and have died and they've never even registered death? Like today, I was helping somebody to apply some passport, and there's that place you have to fill when you're married or unmarried. But when you say you're married, then it means at the end, when you're attaching the documents, you have to attach the birth certificate, the marriage certificate. Then I asked her, "Are you married?" "Yes, I'm married." "Then do you have the certificate?" She told me, "I don't have the certificate." I told her, "Okay, now there I can't put you are married. I'll put you are single. Then the only details we'll put are for the kids because you have the kids' birth certificate and such kind of things." So people are living outside here when the marriage certificates and officiating marriage is really cheap, and they've not been doing that. So now you want to tell me that you are targeting the married people because unaona ndoa zinakuwa mingi so that you'll be able to get some revenue from people getting married. I'm telling you, nobody is going to register marriage in this country because people have survived without those marriage certificates. Those papers, they don't see any value for it. The wise government will always tax things that they are sure people will need. So who will go for a marriage certificate? Atoe pesa all those thousands, si anunue nayo chakula na wakule, anunue nayo ng'ombe walishe badala ya kwenda kuregister marriage certificate. So those kind of things will not work. You lose your ID. How many people are going to they will be using the ID numbers nowadays? You go to M-Pesa, you give them the ID number. Who cares to have an ID? After all, people take ID because of voting. And that is how even 20 to 27 people will not be, most of Kenyans will not be able to vote because they're the ones who are targeted. They're the ones who need these IDs to be voted for. So some of these policies are ill-advised. They are misinformed. I don't know who gives such kind of advices, but they're not going to work. The only way the government can create a revenue is to empower people so that people can be able to create revenue for themselves and for the government. When Kibaki came into power, the first thing he did, he removed this taxation that was done on motorbikes. And actually, the father of Boda Boda is Mwai Kibaki. That's the first time initially when I was young, to see a motorbike ilikuwa ni mtu anafanya na serikali au watu wa water au watu wa health and such kind of people who are having these big honors. But when Kibaki came into power in 2002, that is when we started seeing almost everybody can start riding boda boda, and it really killed and reduced these initial bicycles. And nowadays, though when you go to some towns like Bukoba, they still have the traditional bicycles, of which inafaa tuongeleshe waachane na hizo baiskeli. So
Okay.
there's no much revenue going to be collected there.
Okay. Now let me come to you, Mr. Captain. Ni sawa wanachukua ushuru, but mwananchi kweli anapata the services needed, ama kazi yao ni, if you look at what is happening, yule mbunge tulimchagua, sorry, wacha tuachane kwanza na mbunge, wacha tukuje kwa the cabinet secretaries. Walipokuwa wanafanywa vetting, mtu alisema mimi utajiri wangu tu ni milioni 500, right? Na iko katika both assets na zile vitu zenye nina own, but kidogo kidogo umekuwa appointed CS, unaanza kuvaa suti zaidi ya milioni 3, unavaa saa ya milioni 1, unavaa kiatu cha milioni 1, unavaa from where you sit, pesa zinatumika. Ni sawa, wacha tuseme ni sawa, basi wachukue taxes, but unaona kama taxes zinatumika katika njia ya uwajibikaji, if I can use Kiswahili kidogo, are taxes being used correctly, ama tu ni kuwaste tu? Yes, wanachukua mingi, because ukiangalia hata treasury wanasema bado tax haija hit target, pesa walidhani itakuwa mingi but haijafika. What do you think?
Okay, Jakes and Leo Nyabaya, for simple answer is before I want to say something else, let me just say our taxes are misused, just like that. Then I'll come back to that one. I want to add on what Nyabaya is saying about taxing dead person or taxing for death certificate. Surely, what will that help you? Okay, now for me, from where I sit here, all of you guys, you know where I am. If I die here right now, you are the people you will contribute for me to be brought to Kenya, and then you start taxing my dead body in dollars, even showing this government even is in fact greedy of money, and it is changing the scenario, not in Kenyan shillings. They want now to use dollars. Like where we are now, when you see something they are selling you in dollars, not the currency of this country, know it very well that they are taking your money for free. They are stealing from you. Use the currency from that country that you are. From where I am, we are use different currency, no dollar. But when you go to the shop, they use dollar. That is robbery without violence. And the same thing that is happening in Kenya, taxing people anyhowly, until you want the ordinary mwananchi like me and many of us to remind the government that why are you forgetting to tax this and that? Because now you are taking everything from us. So, Jakes, our taxes are not used properly. Especially, let me say, for a city like Nairobi, Mombasa, Kisumu. I heard the other day they have promoted Eldoret to be one of the cities. But for me, as a ordinary Mkale, nitakuja tu town na gambut. Why? Because there is no pavement. We are paying taxes. There is no pavement that for walking that I can walk on this pavement. Siwezi kanyaga matope. You see? But the taxes are being paid, and you don't see where they are going. These people are taking our tax. We don't know where they are taking them. That is why they are fighting by themselves the way there is war between now Cherargei and Murkomen, and the internal wars between Murkomen and the county governor of Uasin Gishu County. It is because of the taxes, nothing else. Our taxes are misused. Somebody is pocketing our taxes, taking to conference, taking to buying plots in Karen, in El Gonfiu, developing himself. Say that after some few years, we will be told this is now the kingpin. This is now the kingpin. People will say, why kingpin? Oh, amujui ni tajiri. Sijui ako na nyumba Karen, ako na nyumba El Gonfiu. Ukasumba ile imejaa wananchi wa Kenya. Who told you that somebody to be kingpin has to be rich? Who say that? Even me, I can be a kingpin with my katululu hizi myangu hii, and I can lead the country. You see, not that because nimeiba pesa ya wananchi niende pale Karen niko na nyumba pale Narumoru Nyeri, niko na nyumba sijui wapi Masai Mara, and then now I qualify to be a kingpin because I have those lands. Niko na mashamba mingi. There's nothing like that. You are taking from ordinary mwananchi, na hiyo pesa unapeleka kwako na bibi yako na watoto wako, lakini Mkenya mwananchi wa kawaida anaumia. That is what I can say, Jakes. Our taxes are misused. We are not benefiting from anything.
Okay. Leo, from where you sit, have you ever felt taxes working for you? Leo, are you still there with me?
I think it must be coming.
Okay. Yeah. But we equally need to come to the end of the show. But before I do that, allow me to play the final clip of this show. And it takes us slightly back. And this is the clip for you.
From the Office of the Comptroller of Budget continue to cast a dark cloud over the first year of the Kenya Kwanza administration and its handling of the country's financial docket.
A report released by the Margaret Nyakango-led institution has revealed that thousands of government employees now risk being denied medical services and pension dues. And this is as a result of the failure of the government in remitting statutory deductions, including NHIF, pension, and even pay as you earn. And as Stephen Leto reports, pending bills continue to balloon and now stand at a shocking 794 billion shillings.
Comptroller of Budget Margaret Nyakango has published a 189-page report detailing the Kenya Kwanza administration's financial expenditure in the first quarter of the 2023-24 financial year. In her report, out of the total expenditure of 784 billion shillings, 700 billion shillings was used to pay salaries and allowances for civil servants and public officers in what could well be a record imbalance between recurrent and development expenditure. According to the Comptroller of Budget, a paltry 83 billion shillings was left for development. According to the Comptroller of Budget report, the country continues to sink deeper into the debt hole. In September last year, the country's debt stood at 8.56 trillion shillings, and 1 year later, the debt has increased by another 2 trillion shillings and therefore crossing the 10 trillion mark. The report notes that as at 30th September 2023, stock stood at 10.59 trillion shillings, comprising of 5.67 trillion shillings to external lenders, representing 53%, and 4.92 trillion shillings due to domestic lenders, representing 46.5%. Pending bills have gone through the roof. According to the report, the national and county governments combined have accrued pending bills amounting to 794 billion shillings. A closer scrutiny of the pending bills show that the national government in 1 year increased its pending bills by 191 billion shillings, while counties increased by 2.2 billion shillings. Contractors running development projects have been hit hard by the pending bills dilemma and wants the government to pay 289 billion shillings for their works. The report has also indicted the state corporations under the national government for not remitting the pay-as-you-earn taxes for their employees, amounting to 25 billion shillings. Some civil servants have also not had their NSSF, NHIF and pension remitted by their employer, exposing thousands to the risk of being denied medical services, and for those who attain retirement age, not accessing the much-needed funds. The government has also not remitted the monies meant for civil servant SACCO deductions and loans. The total unremitted deductions stands at 190 billion shillings. The Control of Budget says there is need to ensure openness and accountability in selecting projects to be funded using debts. Stephen Letos, Citizen TV.
Now, I want to finish with you, Mr. Captain.
Yes, sir.
The Control of Budget anatoa very serious report that one, our debt may increase despite the taxes yenye tumongelea for the last couple of hours, but madeni pia inaongezeka, yani tunatozwa sana na bado tunakopa sana na mwananchi bado hajaanza kuona mahali pesa inaelekea. Shida iko wapi? Ni mfuko imetoboka? Ni wizi imezidi? Why are these two narratives not combining? We are being overtaxed. We are equally taking more tax, more. We are still borrowing more. So, and we are not seeing what the money is doing. You know, I wish kungekuwa na like a correlation between pesa zimekusanywa ama zimechukuliwa hivi from taxes, pesa tumekopa hizi, alafu miradi ambazo zinaendelea zinaonekana. Mbona hakuna miradi zinaonekana? Pesa Wanakenya imechukuliwa kutoka kwao, wamekopwa kwa sababu kuko na internal borrowing ya 4.9 and about trillion. Tunakopa nje more trillions. So na bado tuna complain gava iko broke. Utasikia gava complain iko broke, haina do. So what is happening? What is happening? Something somewhere is sick. Either the people are sick, the economy is sick, or even maybe the leadership is sick. Kuna ugonjwa tu mahali, because how do you explain tunakopa, tuna overtax, tuna overborrow, that is kukopa, lakini hakuna miradi na bado tumesota. If I cannot even almost use as sharing kinda. What explain from where, kama tu raia wa kawaida unaona shida iko wapi? Shida ni uongozi, shida ni wale
Unajua
juu inafinya.
kwanza kabisa nimeona jamaa anaitwa Good Here ako very active kabisa kwa comment section, which is good. That's very nice.
Ako
Very
sawa.
nice. Ameandika kwamba amependa Eldoret kabisa na alinunua yani kuna textile pale na alinunua blanketi, nafikiri ni duvet, alinunua Rivertex. Good, yeah, that's good bro, that's good. But I told the governor of that county that ingewezekana angekuwa na ile public participation mlisikia mkiongea hapa, angefungua another parallel textile industry for county government ndio ishindane na hii ya serikali, na hapo sasa kungekuwa na competition mzuri, and then initiate all the companies like car wash, schools, hotels. Lazima ufanye kazi na uniform, uko na t-shirt ya kazi kule, uko na dust coat ya kazi car wash. Pale driving school unavaa t-shirt ya hiyo driving school imebrandiwa from a certain textile industry, kama ni Rivertex, kama ni hiyo private ya county, na pesa itazunguka namna hiyo. That is it. So bro, we are trying to look for a way how we can fix it to have a better parallel textile industry. Jakes, hakuna mahali mfuko ilitoboka kwa upande wa tax. Tax inachunwa kidogo 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 kidogo. all the way from national government mpaka ule MCA wa kijiji ya kwangu huko, wanachuna wote. Wewe sasa utapata contract, utanipatia nini? Tunaenda participation pale kwa county government bunge, tutakupitishia contract, tutakula nini? Wanaenda pale kwa choo, wanagawa pesa. That is how we are losing our taxes. Our taxes are not working for us, but it's working for the politicians. Jakes, when you wake up in the morning, saa 11 asubuhi, Kenya mzima, Kibera pale, Eldoret, wapi, Nairobi, Nyeri, hakuna Mkenya bado analala. Mwingine ameenda kupika mandazi, mwingine unaona anafuata tu barabara anaenda. Wewe unafikiria tu anaenda tu juu anaenda, lakini these people bro are going for work. Kuna mwenye anaenda industrial area, kuna mwenye anaenda kufungua hoteli yake, kuna mwenye anaenda kufanya sijui nini, kuna mwenye anaenda kufanya kazi ya security. These people are very hard working. That is why these politicians, they are getting taxes kuweka kwa mfuko zao, lakini yule mwenye analipa hiyo tax anaumia, afanyiwi kazi ile inafaa. It will reach a day, Jakes, that I will not even call you Jakes to ask for our right, or you will not even call me. Tutajipata sisi wote wenyewe tumeenda mpaka mahali tunaitisha haki yetu kwa serikali. Where are we? Where is our taxes? Where is our money going? Itafika hiyo kiwango. Sasa hizi bado tunaongea hapa, huyu wapi, huyu pale nini, unaona? But one day, one time, I know we will be one thing, and we will ask for service delivery to the taxes we are paying to this government. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. We are nearing wrapping up. I don't know, what would be your final words even as we wrap up?
Jakes, I came late. I didn't know what. In fact, I was passing by because my gadgets have been always disturbing me, as I told you the other day. I don't know what I can even say, because even yesterday, we had to discuss what was taking place in what was this thing? Mashujaa or whatever.
Not Mashujaa, Jamhuri, sorry.
Jamhuri, yeah, maybe Jamhuri.
Yeah.
Because I saw a very interesting Twitter comment from huyu senator wa Nairobi. Kumbe hata yeye alikuwa anataka national award, lakini sasa sijui hakupatiwa sababu ya nini, sijui. Those are some of the things we need to discuss, because I don't know what exactly happened. Hakupatiwa.
But these awards, let me ask, mtu hata hajakaa sana kwa ofisi na ashatuzwa, na some of these offices already ziko na scandal. Like Machogu was awarded, ofisi yake bado kuko na issues including the recently released exam.
We only quote Machogu.
Why
as simple as it is, but
from
most of those people who are awarded,
some of the people awarded, it was immature. Like time, we ought to have given them time to see their work, because wananchi are still asking themselves, hey, fulani anafanyanga job kweli, fulani performance yake iko aje, and then pia kulikuwa na wengine walipewa okay, it's tuna celebrate kwa sababu ni Wakenya wenzetu, lakini I think an award should mean something, yeah. Like Faith amevunja rekodi si moja, mara mbili ama tatu.
Sikifuatana by like iko sawa.
Yani she deserves. We are proud about that. We are happy that she got that award, because we feel she deserves it, We feel she deserves it. The President Awards, Faith Kipyego, of course, the elder of the Golden Heart. We feel she deserves it, right? But kuna wengine, I feel
we still have a reservation. We have a reservation.
Si ati nina wivu, lakini I think some of these awards we should wait. It's not a must at if you're a cabinet who were awarded. It's not a must. You know, some of them are still running the ropes despite them being 1 year in office. Hatujaona utendakazi wao this far. Even the president himself amekiri na kinywa chake that kuna some of his lieutenants amewapea kazi na ni kama anajua hiyo kazi hata kualiko. Right? We have had him complain to us as though we are the ones who appointed them. It was him. So them being awarded, I think from where I sit, I think walifanya hivyo mapema. I don't know if these awards have monetary value attached to it. I don't know. I know there are good accolades and everything, but from where I sit, mi naweza sema kuna wale walideserve like Faith. Now that previous night alikuwa amewin a certain award, so for me she deserves it. We celebrate her, and equally I choose to mourn one of my favorite artists. Fortunately, because of copyrights and all, hatuwezi play her song, but Zahara passed on I think yesterday, and it was sad. It was sad. It was sad. She is the singer of Loliwe and Fendula. I know many of you know her. She blessed our lives some times back, and of course, she passed on due to liver challenges and everything else that affected her health and eventually led to her to succumb. But we wish her fare thee well, and to the people of South Africa and the world at large, we are with you in these trying times. But back to Kenya, some awards hazikuwa zimemature. What can we say about these guys? After what that guy was trying to read as those awards were being read, hakukuwa kitu outstanding about them, you know. Hakuwa anasoma vitu outstanding, ni fulani wa fulani alizaliwa mahali fulani, amekuwa akitutumbuiza amekuwa cabinet secretary wa blah blah. But kuna wale alikuwa anaenda to the level of explaining what these people have done. Imanyala has broken sijui what record, has done what, you know. Faith Kipiego has broken several records, to the level that even the president during his speech he had to mention that this lady came from running barefoot to winning and breaking world records. You know, inspirational stories that even when we tell our children of people who have ever been awarded in our country, the story of their award and what they had done to receive that award will correlate. You know, si kupewa tu award, then we will lose meaning of this golden heart or the elder of the golden heart. We will lose the meaning of it. It will not have any state recognition. Haitakuwa unajivunia kupewa hiyo award. You know, there are people who have died,
Jakes,
who have
Jakes,
gone to
if
retirement,
I
and
may
they
ask,
were never recognized for what they did. But go ahead.
if I may ask,
Mhm.
what does it cost a Kenyan to do the right thing at the right time?
Ask
What
me
does it
another
cost?
question. Ask me
Because
another.
why even
another.
you as yourself as
Mm,
Machogu now you are taking the award and you are
mm.
appointed to work for the people. You are the best. You are the best because you are appointed to be the best to work for the people. You are not appointed to be awarded. You are paid. Why should we award you? And yet that is the work you are supposed to be doing. Surely. You are not
Of
competing with
course,
anyone.
those awards are more like commendation. We commend them for good
It's a
works. We
yeah,
commend them
commendation is
for, you
okay.
know, yeah, but at times really I think it's premature given that there are still
It's
very
even
serious
let me say
issues
even
that
less
they
than a
haven't
year.
solved, you know. Yani,
Mm.
what do we reward? Do we reward people who have accomplished things that we can, you know? For instance, I don't think Faith angekuwa awarded kama angemaliza hizo races zenye alishinda. If she didn't finish, she wouldn't have been awarded, you know. She was awarded
Exactly.
for finishing well, finishing in a remarkable style in that she even broke the world record. Una get?
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to do something, but it's another thing to leave a mark in what you're doing. Some of these guys that were awarded, have they left a mark in anything? What can we say about Machogu in as far as education is concerned? What can we say about him? Not that I have a problem with everyone, but I have a problem with some guys. What can we say about them? Right? What can we say about them? Saizi, if God forbid they were not in those ministries, what will be written about what they have achieved? What can be
And
said?
if I may ask
You
you,
know,
Jakes,
is it an
if I may ask
improvement
you,
or attraction of what we used to call our education, for example, our health, for example? Hmm? So we are not complaining, neither are we saying it was bad. Yeah, we are happy you are given, but I think so these guys are working so hard to create unnecessary things. We have very germane, serious issues affecting our country that we don't need to waste a whole 2 hours awarding people for work that has not yet even been done. It's like we award William Ruto right now. He is far from even attaining a quarter of his manifesto. Very
exactly.
far. He's very far. In any case, people are even still complaining. He's very far. We can't even award him now. Equally, even he's telling us we shouldn't judge him now. We should give him time, amalize kazi yake. Then from there, if tutakuwa impressed, we will give him the 5 years next. But saizi akianza kutuambia tumvutie, it is one immature, it is too early. We haven't seen anything. So why was these awards? What informed these awards now? Of course, I'm sure if William Ruto is not willing to change his cabinet soon, angengoja hata next year but kwanza tuone their performance, then we'll be able to apportion that this award makes sense with the person who has received the award. Like how we are saying it, of course, Faith, she deserves that award, and even if there was any other award, she ought to have been given because she deserves it. Some, from where most Kenyans sit, we were just wasting our time. We were just wasting our good rewards to give unto them. They don't deserve it. We haven't seen anything from them. We're just adding accolades to their name. So mtu atakuwa anaandika my name is, anaanza na ECEGH, sijui ECG, blah blah blah, fulani wa fulani. We're just adding titles to their names, but hakuna kitu. But anyway, that is the country we have. But we were discussing about taxes. That was the show. That is what we had. Do you have any other thing you wish to have said kuhusu jana? Even as maybe can I play a song at least, maybe
Oh,
tujikumbushe
just
kidogo
wait before you play a song, Jakes. I want to say something about this thing of blackouts, power blackouts.
Uh-huh. The president has released 66 billion to help fight those incidences of power outages.
We were going there. Even those blackouts were created right that we go there. I knew.
so that we can use the 66 billion. There probably I could agree with you.
Now my question is this: I don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not quoting anyone. I'm not quoting anybody. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
against any tribe or whatever. Charles Kethel was there. We had the same
Mm-hmm.
problems. In fact, even the thing of tokens imeenda hata mpaka bei zingine tunashangaa. Hata hatujatulia kidogo, Chirchir ndio huyo amekuja kuingia. Sasa anakuwa hata more than worst, not even worst, more than worst. What is wrong with these people? I think even William Ruto, it is time now, President. You have to look for the people you are putting into your ministries. We are no longer now in politics. We are now delivering to the people of Kenya. Look for the people you are appointing to be your cabinet secretaries, and look for the people who can give you the proper advice. Even some of us in Africa 24 TV here, we can give you proper advice, even better than some people like Moses Kuria and Mwaso. Sorry for quoting him anyway, but yes, I know what I mean. Even the whole country, they understand what I mean.
Yeah, of course,
President,
That power blackout will inform tomorrow's show. We have another interesting show like
Yes.
dedicated to that particular issue. We want
I
to
want us
find
to
out
discuss
more
this
as
thing. I want us to discuss Kenya
we
power
will
issue
prepare because
since the previous regime,
how come
and the current
how
regime.
come it's now that the issue has been there occurring 3 times in less than 3 months, and now we have allocated serious billions, 66
Yes.
billion for that matter.
Where are we
So
going? Where
tomorrow,
are we going?
tomorrow that is what will inform us. We will try to go back in history. We'll look at those issues. So show your cases at your queso. Well,
Yes,
I
yes. We will
I
not
think
want
nimechoka.
situation, Jakes, whereby next time if you see me in the ballot, you will say, no, let's not vote for this guy. We voted for his brother
Mm.
before, and this happened to Kenya, and this happened to Kenya. I will want a Kenya where if I come to the ballot, you will not picture me looking at the current regime that we are right now. You'll just vote for me as me. You see? Don't reject me because of previous regime. Are you seeing? And again,
So from where
we
is
need
it,
to have the
Mr.
constitution
Captain?
whereby
Well, unaona kama our I don't like it when we almost tribalize the show, but can I ask it this way?
yes,
Unaona that some certain people are destroying the reputation of the communities they come from, that people will now begin to associate failure with this community despite it was an individual. Will they now start saying if you see Flani or Flani because of his name, his community will be feared? Do you think kidogo kuna watu wanachomea some communities? I think that way is safer to ask. I haven't mentioned any tribe by name, but what do you think?
do you know, Jakes, do you want me to explain more even the way than you are saying?
Okay.
Should we hide in back of the tent until when?
Mm,
Why don't we
mm.
speak the truth right now?
Okay.
Why don't we
Okay.
say the truth?
Okay.
Hmm? Is it that we are creating scenarios, funny scenarios here and acrobatics, so that we privatize Kenya Power, and the person who is want to buy Kenya Power is you yourself in power? Is that what we want in Kenya?
Okay.
No, we cannot go like that. We
So
cannot
even
agree.
before, so
We don't
we
want.
will be back. We will be back after this small break. So stick around. We will be back after this break.
Okay.
Tunasonga mbele watu wote wa Jamhuri Kenya yetu. Tunasonga mbele watu wote wa Jamhuri Kenya yetu. Haya sisi sote wananchi tushangilie. Eko Jamhuri, eko Jamhuri, sote eko Jamhuri Kenya yetu yaenda mbele. Eko Jamhuri, sote eko Jamhuri, eko Jamhuri. Mwaka wa 60 umefika, tangu Kenya iwe huru. Mwaka wa 60 umefika, tangu Kenya iwe huru. Haya sisi sote wananchi tushangilie. Eko Jamhuri, eko Jamhuri, sote eko Jamhuri, Kenya yetu yaenda mbele. Eko Jamhuri, sote eko Jamhuri, eko Jamhuri, Kenya yetu yaenda mbele. Twaenda mbio, Kenya yaenda mbele. Kwa elimu twaenda kweli yavutia, tunajivunia Kenya nchi yetu, kweli yapendeza, kweli yavutia. Kenya nchi yangu nitaitoloza, nitailinda maishani mwangu. Kenya nchi yangu nitaitoloza, nitailinda maishani mwangu. Ziwa la Victoria linaunganisha Kenya na Uganda, Kenya na Tanzania. Fika Mombasa, mwito wa bahari, ogelea maji, jua tamu kuota. Kenya nchi yangu nitaitoloza, nitailinda maishani mwangu. Kenya nchi yangu nitaitoloza, nitailinda maishani mwangu.
PPMC Production.
Tushangilie Kenya, taifa letu tukufu, Kenya tunayoipenda. Kenya nchi tunayoipenda. Kenya nchi tunayoipenda. Twajivunia sana tukijiita wa Kenya, nchi yenye baraka. Kenya nchi yenye baraka. Kenya nchi yenye baraka. Kenya makao yetu ni nchi ya kupendeza, kamwe hatutaiacha. Kamwe Kenya hatutaiacha. Kamwe Kenya hatutaiacha. Wenzangu, Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele daima. Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele daima. Kenya kipenzi chetu, nchi yenye upendo, hatutaacha Kenya daima na milele. Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele daima. Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele daima. Tumeapa sote wananchi wa Kenya kutumikia Kenya daima na milele. Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele daima. Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele daima. Sitaiacha Kenya nchi yangu, na nikienda ng'ambo nitarudi. Sitadanganya kamwe na wageni, wala sitapotoshwa na wabaya. Sitasaliti Kenya nchi yangu, na majirani wangu nitalinda. Wenzangu, Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele daima. Kenya kipenzi chetu, hatutaiacha milele daima. Tushangilie Kenya, taifa letu tukufu, Kenya tunayoipenda. Kenya nchi tunayoipenda. Kenya nchi tunayoipenda.
All right. Beautiful, beautiful piece of music and art from our legendary vocalist and beautiful performances. This is Africa 24. We are just wrapping up. We had just chosen to take a kabritha kidogo, and now we are just wrapping the show. Okay, fantastic. Wow. Hiyo song huenda nipeleka mbali. What happens to you when you listen to nice Kenyan music?
Jakes, Kenya ni kipenzi chetu bana. Hata penye tuko hapa, I'm even wondering because sometimes even these people, they don't know where is Kenya. But when you tell them, okay, Nairobi, they say, we only know Nairobi. We don't know Kenya. Where is Kenya? So now we tell them Kenya is the biggest name. And then now Nairobi comes the second as the capital city. Now they came to understand. But now, when you have this wristband, Kenyan flag and whatever, you understand. Hapo sasa ndio wanajua huyu kweli ni Mkenya. And from
So
our neighbors,
you
that
guys are
is
doing
Uganda.
us proud.
Yeah. For our
You
neighbors, Kenya,
guys
not
are
Kenya,
doing us
Uganda,
proud
Tanzania.
outside there. Keep on doing it.
Yeah, we are giving a good name. But for Tanzanians and Kenyans and Ugandans, they are making a very bad name for us, Bana. Even when you go somewhere and you say, I come from Kenya, and they are around there, oh, those people are what? Those people are what? Yani, we are known for negatives. Sembuse hawa wananchi wa viongozi wetu hawa bure kabisa,
Okay, and that's why we have this kind of shows so that we still protect our country, because somehow we have to talk. We cannot all of us choose to see our country go down the drain, and that's why we have such shows, and that's why, because we love our country. Many of you watching us is because you love your country. That's why you can spend hours on end watching such programs, participating, being in conversations, communicating to us through the chats and everything else, because you love your country. We love our country, Kenya. We call Kenya home, and nobody loves it when their home is destroyed. And because we love our country, we'll speak about it, we'll debate about it, we will question things when they go wrong. Thank you very, 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 very much, ladies and gentlemen, for being part of this show. Allow me to send a special shout out to the many who tuned in. Akina Goodyear, asante tu sana, sana, sana. Receive our gratitude, Goodyear. Karen Simiu, asante sana. Ida Barak, asante sana. Jude, asante pia kwa sababu ya kutuma ujumbe wako. Ani, asante tu sana. Thank you so much for sending in your love. I see you, Elizabeth Nganga. Asante tu sana. Thank you very, very much. Kuna jamaa anajiita Don't Lie. Asante pia. Beatrice Lucy, I see you. Asante sana BT for being part of this. Sijui kama unapenda kuitwa Betty. Sijui kaona, I think, I don't know. Unajua hizi jina, kuna jina mbili zinakuwa na short forms mingi sana. Elizabeth na Beatrice. Elizabeth has so many short forms. Liz, Eliza, kuna mwingine anajiita tu leta moja E, Beth, zote zinatoka from one name, So anyway, we love you guys. Thank you very, very much, our ladies. Our ladies participated over the comment section, and we are equally grateful. You guys made this show beautiful, and we truly, truly love you. Thank you very much. Good dear anasema hiyo song imemfanya akakumbuka home, na inamfanya saizi anakumbuka nini, Mabuyu na Big G. Sawa, sawa. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Goodyear. And to you, our viewers, you guys are just but fantastic. Asanteni tu sana. We do this again tomorrow evening from 10 p.m. Kenyan time. Here, we will make sure you come in and enjoy yourself, either through the comment section, participating live by the panelists. But by the end of the day, we'll make you enjoy this show. This show happens live at Afric 24, and of course in co-hosts with other channels like Mtembei TV, YouTube, Leo TV, Kenya Digital TV, and of course our Facebook pages. Thank you very much. I would wish you may consider to subscribe to Afric 24. Subscribe to Afric 24 now. I've always told you, subscribing to Afric 24 guarantees you chances of winning great prizes. So please subscribe I am now certain, and with a lot of certainty, we'll be awarding our viewers very soon, before Christmas. I was to do it yesterday, but some challenges came up. But before Christmas, uh, those who are to receive their presents yesterday and those who are receiving it before Christmas, all of you will be awarded on the same day. So don't miss on that list. The list, as I told you, is increasing daily. So subscribe to Africa 24 to win grand prizes. It's not expensive to win a prize. Imagine it's free of charge. But how do you book your spot to win a prize? By subscribing to Africa 24. Africa 24 unaitafuta tu hapo Facebook una follow. Kwa YouTube hapo ndio presents zinapatikana sana, right? So kimbia YouTube, subscribe to Africa 24, hivyo tu vile ninaitamka Africa 24, jinsi unavyoona hiyo logo hapo juu, right? Subscribe after to Africa 24. You won't get any channel. This will be the channel you see. Of course, others are there, but this is the channel you see. Africa 24. Here you are guaranteed to enjoy great and quality stuff. Asanteni tu sana. Kesho we have another awesome edition coming up. Usikose. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Saa 4 kamili tutaanza show ingine na itakuwa fiti. Asubuhi wadau tumewakumbuka. Kuko na another great show with other great panelists. Kuko na in the morning, kuko na another great edition. So stick around in the morning. Asubuhi kuanzia mida ya saa 2 kuna show ingine. Hapo utaelezwa what is happening, of course, in terms of what will happen throughout the day. Gazeti utasomewa, utajuzwa vitu kibao asubuhi, right? So kuna hii show ya jioni na sasa kuna show ya asubuhi. Kuna hawa jamaa wamejihami vizuri. Gazeti si ya juzi, si ya zamani, gazeti fresh ya leo yako tayari, tuko saa 7 usiku. Gazeti ya leo itakuwa kwa show ambayo inakuja. Gazeti kadha wa kadha zitachambuliwa, mambo ambayo yametukia yatachambuliwa, na of course pia mambo ambayo yatatukia. So usikose hiyo show ya asubuhi, lakini ili usikose uhondo huu wote. Na pia kuna show ingine ambayo iko karibu kuanza very soon, actually show 2, show 2, na pia hizo shows zitakuwa interesting, wadada, hizo mtataka kukosa. We got you here at Africa. We got you. We want to make sure that this channel really speaks to you in so many ways. Asante sana kwa kusubscribe. Asante sana kwa kuwa part of the larger family. Thank you many who participate, and thank you many who keep tabs with what is happening in Africa. See you tomorrow. Bless you.
Wakati wa Howard.
God bless you. Naona kuna jamaa hapa.
Kumbuka sana Gudia.
Yes.
Gudia has been participating in comment sections. So when you award the right people. Don't award the wrong people like the state, what they did yesterday. Award the right people.
Wewe unaharibu mtama, lakini ni sawa, nitajaribu. Actually will be very fair. Just know this. You will be awarded. I don't want to say who. You'll be
Gudia, please.
As much as kuko na campaign manager hapa, naona kuko na campaign manager hapa, but ni sawa, but you will be, I've not said who, you will be awarded. Just know you will be awarded, just for subscribing and of course for being very active. We can never fail to see you. Tutawezaje kosa kukuona? Really, we cannot fail to see you. We see you and we appreciate you. We thank you so much for keeping us at very high levels. We are mentioned in very awesome places because this show is turning out to be the very best, the leading in as far as such content is concerned. Thank you for making our numbers so higher and higher every day. Asante tu sana. You guys are just but amazing and we appreciate you. And how well will we do that? By awarding you because of following us, subscribing, participating. We must do something, So stick around and find out how we do that. God bless you. God do you a good one. You have been an amazing Lord. This is Africa 24, and of course, as usual, I'm your host, Jakes, the moderator. Tuonaneni wadau. Good night.